bullshit that's about to go on. I don't know what it is, but it's about to be something.
I don't, yo. I'm here to talk good hoops today. For once, I just want to talk good basketball, and we have the perfect time on our hands with the Pacers versus the Thunder. Obviously, it is the NBA Finals. Yo, I want to get down to the bottom of the series, talk about it, talk about all the interesting facts and, good things that are happening in this series. It's a lot of connections and whatnot, like the Canadian connections, the Gonzaga connections, things like that in this series. So I want to talk about those things, talk about all the details, but also I want to start by asking you guys, and I'm asking in the poll, how will the Pacers versus the Thunder finals be? Now, one, I said a great watch. I'm excited to see it. That has the most votes, actually. Another one is it's going to be a mid-ass finals. Another one is it's going to be a terrible watch. Two small market teams, yada, 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 or whatever you may think about these two teams. And last but not least, I put great hoops and good storylines. How do you guys feel about this finals going into it?
I think it's a great watch, to be honest with you. I think it's basketball at its finest. I think two teams with contrasting styles. I think of it like boxing. And when I think of it like boxing, I got a team that's extremely offensive and a team that's extremely defensive. So you got a team in Indiana that's a great transition team. And I feel like they don't stop. I always equate stuff to this, like in football, where I've made this example to John before, where we get stopped running the football a couple of times. Don't stop running the football. Keep running it, because eventually you're gonna break free for one. And Indiana is one of those teams in terms of a transition team where they're not gonna stop running. They're gonna keep running the entire game, even if you stop them a couple of times in transition, even if it's at the expense of turning the ball over once or twice. They're gonna keep running. They're gonna keep running. And Oklahoma City, this is the ultimate test for their defense, not just one-on-one, but as a team, how much they really trust each other, how much they trust each other to rebound, how much they trust each other in terms of their shot selection. Because we all know when you shoot bad shots can also turn into turnovers. Because a team like Indiana, where you shooting long threes, those long threes could turn into transition. Those long threes can turn into transition opportunities. Those transition opportunities are what the Indiana Pacers thrive on. So this is a team that I feel like this is an Indiana team that I feel like is not going to stop. They're going to stay with what they do best. In Oklahoma City, this is the ultimate test for their defense. I think this is going to be a great watch. And we get introduced also, not us, because we're already in. I'm talking about the casual fan. They're getting introduced to SGA. They get introduced to Tyrese Halliburton to find out who he actually is, to find out who SGA is, and to put them on the stage where they can be seen more. I think that's great for the NBA.
I think this could either be a really good watch or this could be something that is over fast. And I think it all depends on the Pacers. And how they decide to play the Thunder. They're going to have to be calm. They can't be flustered by the ball pressure, by the speed on the perimeter. They have to make the right decision. They can't turn the ball over. So if they are going to go out and they're going to be cautious with the basketball, they're going to take care of it. They're going to get good shots. If they can limit their turnovers, I'm 100% confident that majority of the time the Pacers are going to get the best look they can out of every possession. But if they don't take care of the ball, I don't trust their transition defense to guard a SGA, J-Dub led transition with Chet Holmgren, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, SGA, J-Dub. So I think it could be a really good watch, but it all comes down to the Pacers. It comes down to the Pacers to me.
Mars, thoughts and feelings heading into this series?
I think it'll be a good series. Even if it is over quickly, I still think it'll be good. Two interesting styles of basketball. One more isolation heavy, the one more ball movement, player movement heavy. One all-time defense, one extremely unique, if not all-time offense. Both teams thrive in the open court. I know Indiana get all like the label of this transition team. OKC are like just as good in transition. So
league, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, so two elite transition teams. Obviously having SGA, top 5 player in the world. in the finals is always cool. I think it's the first time since 2016 the MVP's been in the finals. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton, obviously, better than Steve Nash. So we're seeing like 2 all-timers going at it in the finals at the same position. Rick Carlisle has the potential to have maybe 2 of the greatest championships as a coach on his resume, potentially, with Dallas in 2011 and this year, Indiana.
I forgot Rick Carlisle been in a similar situation like this before, huh?
Yeah, like it's fairly obvious. I think everyone agrees. I think even Pacers fans acknowledge that they're the underdogs. Like they are absolutely the underdogs. But they do have avenues to win this series, and I think that's what's interesting. But I think, and I hope I'm wrong, but I do think some of this is us hoping that this is going to be a closer series than it probably is going to be. I personally think this series is going to be quite straightforward. But I'm hoping it's a close series. I'm hoping
straightforward, as in like
Mars basically think that Oklahoma
ass
City's gonna go. They're gonna whoop Indiana ass, and he's hoping that it's not that. That's what he's hoping it is not.
Yeah, I don't think this series is gonna be particularly close. But I would love to be wrong. Like if the Pacers come out and this is a 7-game series, or the Pacers win the series, I think that would be great. I have a hard time seeing that happening, but I would love to see.
You just brought up an interesting point, Mars, because I got a question for the panel, because I just thought about this when you brought up Rick Carlisle. So Rick Carlisle was in the NBA championship with 2 different teams. How many coaches have been in the NBA championship with 2 different teams? Number 1.
Phil Jackson.
2, okay.
Oh, keep going. My bad.
Nope. You're right. You're right, John D. Phil Jackson,
Phil Jackson with the Lakers and the who else? Because
Lakers and Bulls. Pat Riley with the Lakers and
not
Knicks.
Doc Rivers. Hell no.
That's it.
Is it?
Yeah, that's all.
That's it. That's it. Now I want to take it a step further. I want to take it a step further than that.
Is that really it?
That's it.
Off the top of my head, that's all I can think.
I'll take his word for it, but I am one of those people who just know everything about me.
So my man, Ron. So hold on. Take it a step further than that, Ron. They end up winning the NBA championship.
Oh, right? Larry Brown's one.
He was with
Philly.
Pistons and Philly. Yep, Philly. Yep, Philly.
Shout out to Condro in the chat. Yep.
So,
but to win the championship,
they end up winning the NBA championship.
He'd be the only one. Well,
it'd be
Pat Riley's on.
It'd be him.
Pat Riley in 06. Okay.
It'd be him and Riles. It'd be Phil. It'd be him, Phil Jackson, and Riles. How do we talk about Rick Carlisle as an all-time great coach?
He's not Phil and Pat, but I think we got.
He's a good coach.
Like, we got respect on his name. Sure.
Yeah, he's on. I'm not one of those guys that just like always talks about coaching because it's like you did a really good job in the situations where you were supposed to, but it's like there's like a weird distinguish between what are you doing on the sideline, because we're not there. We're not on the sideline listening to what they're telling their players to do. So I'm like, 2 championships, coach some of the better teams in our era, play with coach some of the better players in our era. Fantastic.
As a heavy underdog,
but there's
2011 heavy.
There's a big
2011, and he's
exactly
also a underdog too here.
That's all I'm about to say. Chill. Phil Jackson and Pat Riley had much better teams than Rick Carlisle.
That's a fact.
Both
much
times.
better teams than Rick Carlisle. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Much better teams than Rick Carlisle. Well, but with that being said, we are talking about two coaches that won championships on both teams. To Mars's point,
what?
Like it doesn't really. It might not mean much because again, I mean Rick Carlisle. He's been the head coach.
Rick Carlisle, Larry Brown. That's good company to be in.
Really good company.
And Larry Brown ended up winning one, but just like Rick Carlisle ended up winning one. Where does Rick Carlisle end up in the pantheon of coaches? Is he?
He's better than Doc Rivers. And Doc Rivers won what, the top 15? So
I think Rick Carlisle one of the greatest coaches of all time. To be real,
is he better than Don Nelson?
Yeah.
I don't know. Don Nelson was a revolutionary. So it's like,
Rick Carlisle revolutionary too.
How much do you
Rick Carlisle and like the Mike D'Antoni?
Why isn't Rick Carlisle revolutionary?
Mike D'Antoni.
I mean, I'm not.
I think he's like Rick Alderman.
I feel like when I say revolutionary, I think there's many people who have contributed to changing the game.
Sure.
But like, if I had to point to singular revolutionary coaches, I think Don Nelson would be up there. I think Mike D'Antoni would be up there. Obviously, then you go with like Red Auerbach all the way back in the day, Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich. Like those guys to me are like revolutionary. I think Rick Carlisle. I respect Rick Carlisle a lot for his adaptability. I think that's one thing I respect.
Great at making adjustments. He's great at making adjustments.
I think his adjustments are great. I think his ability to adapt to the way the game, like, I wouldn't call Rick Carlisle revolutionary because I think Rick Carlisle adjusted with the game. I think Don Nelson forced the game to adjust, and that to me is what makes you revolutionary. When you change the game, that's a revolutionary.
What did Don Nelson do to change the game?
All of the small ball stuff, point forwards. Like he brought like the versatility. Like, and he never won with it, so I don't think he gets like the credit he deserves. But like his Bucks team in the 80s were running with point forwards, and like they never won. So then it's like, oh, Scottie Pippen did it. Oh, but like no, Don Nelson had Paul Pressey as a Marquise Johnson as point forwards in the mid 80s, but they just never won. So obviously he doesn't get that respect. But I think that's what a revolutionary is: someone who's changes the game. And I think that's a Don Nelson, that's a Mike D'Antoni. That's a Popovich.
But Mars, I will say, if you look at some tape from the 60s and 70s, they had the bigs dribbling a little bit too. They was
off the
fancy. They just wasn't fancy. They was pushing it. That's why they were scoring a lot of points.
Their pace was crazy.
Yeah, so I think Don Nelson.
And you had Elgin Baylor. Elgin Baylor was like a point forward of types. Rick Barry, like they did exist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Don Nelson got it from them, but I think he just put his own spin to it. But they wasn't playing. Like, everybody back then, everybody think back then, like they was just grabbing the ball. Hey, here, point. That probably started like in the 90s, to be real. But in the 60s and 70s, if you go back and look at the tape, them bigs was going down the court, dribbling funny as hell, scoring on the way. It just looked ugly. But I think the only reason why I say Rick Carlisle's a revolutionary is because he took, and a lot of people don't give him a lot of credit for this, but I think you should. He took those all his big men to start shooting them deep ass threes. Like and I'm not saying that that's what you should do, but I know for sure from from people that I know like that played for him, like he made it an emphasis to shoot those shots in practice, like those long ball shots. Like that was his point of emphasis, and he make you work on it, and then it translates to his game. And no wonder why the Pacers and the Mavericks play with a lot of space. Now the Mavericks didn't have this good of a roster. Yep. To me, like the Pacers do, but since he got it now he's showing you what it can be. So I don't know, man. I think Rick Carlisle just an asshole off the rip, but
you have to have some level of that. To be honest with you, Jordan, as a coach, that's part of being great. To be honest,
but I think that's what's hurting him on people giving him the correct flowers that he deserved. Like he had the whole Rondo situation.
Was a jerk.
I know a little bit. No, but
that's what held me back, Jordan. That's what held me back from showing Rick Carlisle love. I used to rock with Dallas until that
Rondo thing. That's what I'm saying, bro.
Y'all know basketball minds clash though. Like we clash up here 100%. All day. Rondo is a basketball genius.
Yeah,
Rick Carlisle is a basketball guru. Some things that Carlisle might say to Rondo might look at him like, "Yo, old man, that's dumb." Like, it's your philosophy, but to me, that's not the correct way to be doing this.
And Ron Carlisle might look at Rondo and look at some shit like, "What the fuck you doing? That's dumb." Boy, this Rick Carlisle come from the old Celtics tree. You know what I mean?
And then Rick Carlisle had his Luka moment as well.
Yeah. Oh man, I would assume. Now I don't want to.
I was on Rick's side with that one.
I don't want to make up words, and put in people what mouth. But man, I know for sure that they clash a lot about the style of basketball that they played. Like you can tell, like first of all, he never had a player like Luka. That's for sure. He never had a player like him. So Luka, and Luka is acquired taste. You know what I mean? Like he's an acquired taste. You got to take the good with the bad. That's a part of having a great player. But even with Dennis Smith, he didn't even like the way certain things Dennis Smith played. Like he didn't like Dennis at all. As far as him being a starting point guard. So it's just basketball minds see it a certain way, and then to me, I think it's even worse when you don't win. I think basketball minds
that's what compounds it.
And I think that's what I'm saying, too. I think that's what like blows the whole thing up. Like somebody can have success, but a real basketball mind, the success isn't there if it's not a win, if it's not a championship run.
Like Tibbs is actually a really smart coach. It's just
that's a fact.
That's the problem. Tibbs is
And
really
he's
stubborn.
until
And
he's
stuck in
stubborn
his
because
own
they
ways.
haven't won, and he's stubborn because
If
they
he
haven't
actually
won.
won, it would look
Yes.
it would look way different. But Mars,
That's
I
a real
wanted to ask
basketball
you,
mind.
because I do think
right,
that this
chill,
is a
chill, right quick. I do want to read the super chat before it lingers around for too long. My man Arch said, from Hallie being better than Nash to SGA being better than Kobe, I'm glad Ox, Mars, and Swiper didn't let Ron and Penn get away with that pure yap. Arch, just stick around, brother. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Mars, I want to know,
we're-
was you
we're bringing
trolling?
it
Mars, I want to
Be
know, was you
very- be
trolling
very
earlier
wary.
in the group chat?
About what?
Hold on, Jordan. Before we get into that, we'll get to that in a little
Yeah,
bit.
let's
You
get
know what I'm
let's get back
talking
because
About Nash MVPs being racist?
Yes.
We'll get into that, y'all. We'll
Yes,
get
yeah,
into that.
I just wanted to. I really quickly, Ron. I wanted to say that I really wish that Chris Webber could have worked it out with Don Nelson, because he was the consummate player that Don Nelson would have loved in terms of being a revolutionary, like Mars was talking about. But when you talk about Rick Carlisle, Mars, what's the gap between Rick Carlisle and Doc Rivers in terms of adjustments?
Oh shit, a big ass gap. They're not even close.
Are they in the same city? Are
They're
they
not
in
in the same tier as
neighborhood?
coaches. They're not in the same tier as
I don't know.
coaches.
I mean, I say all the time, I'm similar to John D, or John D similar to me. I don't know which one came to this conclusion first. It's hard for me to evaluate coaches. I just know when I'm seeing nonsense on the court. And with Doc Rivers teams, I see a whole lot of nonsense and them sticking to a whole lot of nonsense. Now, that might not all be because of Doc Rivers. I don't know. Maybe it's his bench. Maybe it's his coaching stuff. I don't know. But all I know is when I see nonsense on Doc Rivers teams, that nonsense doesn't seem to change. When I see nonsense on Rick Carlisle's teams, the next quarter that seems to change.
The next time out.
Like, so that's what I noticed. Now, does that mean it's Rick Carlisle pulling all the strings? Maybe, maybe not. But I noticed those trends and they seem to be consistent over the last few years. And that leads me to the conclusion that Rick Carlisle is far superior in terms of adjustments, far superior in terms of offensive game planning, far superior in terms of understanding spacing, and far superior defensively than Doc Rivers. But I just don't think Doc Rivers is that good.
Mars, I wonder, do y'all remember this? And this is, I don't know if y'all would have to see this specific game to know exactly what I'm talking about. It was a game when they was in Dallas. Porzingis was in Dallas too. And Luka came down the court and shot, I think, 2 or 3 straight badass possessions. Right?
Sounds
Porzingis
about
was
right.
calling for the ball. And he wouldn't swing it. So then Luka sees him on one of the possessions and throws the ball to him. Porzingis is coming from like the half court line, and Porzingis get the ball and shoot that bitch immediately.
Oh, from like the logo?
Yeah. And then they call a timeout, and Porzingis loses his damn mind, bro. Like, he kicking the chair and shit. And from that moment, I knew off the rip that Luka and Carlisle and Porzingis, it was not gonna work. Porzingis would be amazing with the Pacers right now. I think Carlisle probably wanted Porzingis more than he would want Luka. He would be amazing.
I mean, he's like Miles Turner, but like better.
But better. That's what I'm. But when I saw that shit,
on steroids.
bro, when I saw that shit, I was like, first of all, I thought I was the only one that seen it. I'm like, because you wasn't no coverage on it or nothing. But I'm like, bro, you out of your damn mind, bro. Like, there's no way this is gonna work. Me knowing what I know about how Rick Carlisle coaches and what he wants from players, bro. Like, he's I'm serious, bro. He's an asshole, but he's a genius. Like, he's a genius. And he gives you confidence, as well as some people might say he might take it away. But I think he giving you the gems to stay in the league. I think people just take it the wrong way. But
I mean, when you look at the freedom of this team right now, it looked like he's really put the battery in everybody's back, for lack of better terms. Like,
Obi Toppin is an NBA player now.
Obi Toppin is hoop. He
NBA
hoops like he doesn't
now.
have
Running
a care in the
transition,
world.
shoot the ball. Like,
He don't take
Look,
badass
look,
shots either. He don't take badass shots either.
Well, it was game 5. He was shooting some badass shots. Well, really, he just wasn't making them. That's all it is. It's not necessarily a bad shot. It's just he wasn't making them. Because if he made those shots, we would be saying, "Oh man, Obi's going crazy." But I'm just saying, like, look at the freedom in which Obi, Nembhard, Neesmith, Ben Shepherd to come in and get to it. Like he it
Thomas
doesn't look
Bryant
like
coming in and shooting threes.
He
just coming in that
Bradley wasn't no NBA player.
Yeah,
like Pat said, I was in the league 15 years. I still don't know who the hell that is. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm telling you, bro, that is his type of team, bro. Like, guys that's willing to listen, guys that's willing to not be selfish and play the game the right way. Bro, I'm glad basketball is back. I'm actually glad that the finals is the Pacers and the Thunder. To be honest with you, I'm glad with it. Of course, I would have liked somebody else to do it, but I think these two teams in the finals is great for basketball. I said this a lot of times. It's great for basketball because of the way that they play. I don't give a shit about, oh, it's boring, it's the small markets, whatever. I don't give a shit about that. The beautiful brands of basketball, you're going to see real-time adjustments. You're not going to see dumbass basketball where coaches just stubborn and they hope their best players figure it out. I say it all the time. Coaches got to coach. So we get a full NBA finals of coaches coaching. That's what we going to get.
Yo, but before I pull up the series odds, Big Ox, how do you feel about this series? Are you excited?
I seen him hating on it on Twitter. So.
Do you think it's a terrible watch? Are you like, man, I watch it when I watch it? Are you gonna be there early?
I'm gonna be watching every game just like I would any finals. You know what I'm saying? Like I respect the game. I respect the hardwood run. So I'm gonna check it out. I think OKC probably will beat them. But when we realized like there was 4 options when it got to the conference finals, I was saying like I wanted to be either this matchup or Knicks Minnesota. I wouldn't want to see the other way around or any other variation of those teams. But I'm excited for it. I still don't believe in either one of these teams. I don't know how the hell they got here, but shit, we here now, y'all. So I think it's gonna be a good finals, though. Honestly, I think it's a good matchup. Probably OKC in 6, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think, but Pascal can change this thing away. He could change my mind. Pascal could change my mind.
Hey man, this is where I think it's gonna come out. And Mars might be able to say, I was wrong. Championship DNA, dog. This is where the championship DNA is going to come in. With Pascal, with Rick Carlisle.
Thomas Bryant.
Oh, I forgot about Thomas Bryant. That shit don't count with Thomas Bryant. But whatever. He got a little DNA. He a part of the family tree somewhere. But that's where I think it's going to pull out now. Mar,
we go Caruso.
Oh, you're right. Y'all do so it's a good one. It's a good plan. Y'all got
we live in a playoffs where coaches have gotten out coached because they've had more talent. I think that Knicks team was a little bit more talented than Indiana. I think Indiana's unit was better, and I think that
the Knicks brand of basketball wasn't good. That's what
it's not just their brand of basketball, because you can win with a bad brand of basketball when you don't utilize your personnel like you should, like with Coach Tibbs. Coach Tibbs takes his personnel and it's urgent. Okay, I'm going up against a team that he's going to use 9-10 guys. He's going to use 11 guys. Well, I've had these guys throughout the course of the season, and I've only used 6 or 7 of them. Now I got to dig deep into my bench and use these guys. Shamit was good with the Clippers. Shamit wasn't terrible with the Clippers. He was good with the Clippers. He was not awful with them.
That's optimistic.
He wasn't awful. No, he wasn't. He was not awful.
He was all right, chill. He was all right.
Right. So and
he was Doc's guy, though. I will say that.
In the playoffs, when I get to the playoffs, I have to find meaningful run for any and everybody possible. I got to find that out throughout the course of the season. Who's going to help me throughout the playoffs? If this guy was good for another team, why can't he be good for me? If I'm watching Kolek, who's a rookie, he did play Kolek throughout the course of the regular season. Why can't Kolek give me some meaningful minutes? Cameron Payne, Shammer, Precious Achua, who gave me meaningful minutes throughout the course of the season. Why can't he give me meaningful minutes in a game where we're going to get up and down the floor? We need rebounding. We need transition defense. Why can't he give me meaningful minutes? And
Chill,
then
let me tell you why. Chill, can I tell you why? Because of the brand of basketball that the New York Knicks play, with Brunson dominating the ball and kind of generating a lot more shots for the rest of his teammates. I think you get comfortable with that and you okay with that style that's been taking you so far, and it's been getting further and farther that you don't really use your extra guys coming off the bench. Now, as far as Indiana, like we talk about this, and I know Hallie gets ridiculed for it, and rightfully so. Some games he can have 7 points, and the Pacers can blow somebody's ass out. So
correct.
So that's why, and it's easier to manage and handle a guard like you got Tyrese, and then you put him on the side of Andrew Nembhard, who's you don't got to tell him You don't got to tell him to pass the ball. You don't got to tell him to shoot the ball. You don't got to tell him to defend. You don't got to tell him to do extra stuff. You don't got to tell him to do all of that stuff. So it's much easier to do that. You got Brunson who dominates the ball. When Becky Hammond said what she said about him, they was crashing out on Becky Hammond. But you got Brunson dominating the ball. He don't really play great defense like that. Matter of fact, it's actually atrocious, to be honest with you. And then you got Cat. You're in the same situation. Cat shoots a lot of threes. He probably would benefit. And it's nothing wrong with Cat shots, by the way. But I think he would benefit. I think it would benefit a lot if you swung the ball to Cat more and got him moving a lot more. Would we be
talking differently about this Knicks team if this offense changed? If it was something as simple as just the offense changing? Because when you guys talk to me,
I'll tell you this,
their talent offensively is.
That's what I'm saying. Because when you guys talk to me about Brunson, really quickly, ZZ, when you guys talk to me about Brunson, you know he can't lead a team to the NBA championship. Well,
with that brand of basketball, I don't think.
Okay, so it's not him. That's not the problem. It's the problem is the brand of basketball that they play.
That's what I said.
The ball stick to his hand. The ball sticks to his hands. I could say that about a lot of other guys, right? I could say that about a lot of guys who, in NBA history, once the offense changed, they became so much better.
Like Steve Nash.
Exactly.
But so you got
to. But I said that with Steve Nash.
But here's the difference, though, Jordan. Steve Nash was already awesome. He was already an All-Pro when he was in Dallas, Ron. So let's not make it.
Three straight years of the number one offense in the league.
Let's not make it look like when Steve Nash got to Phoenix, he all of a sudden became this awesome player. Ron, he was awesome when he was in Dallas. He was an All-Pro. Let's not act like he wasn't
good. His game went to another level.
But hold on, though, chill. Hold on, chill in, Ron, because chill, you saying it wrong. Steve Nash left the team, and Dirk's game changed a little bit because of the way that they started to play. Like that happens. Like people, and I made this argument a long time ago, and people just swear to God, like, "Oh, we were just talking." No, the offense changed when Steve Nash left, so the way Dirk got his shots was a little bit different too. Now, now go to Steve Nash going to Phoenix. D'Antoni changed them a little bit too. Like, you know, you move the ball around, but also it's kind of the same a little bit with Brunson because you can't just win with a small guard dominating the ball all the time. You're probably not gonna win like that when you go up against teams with bigger guards and more of a system. Probably not gonna win. That's all I'm saying. It works when you got a guy like LeBron James who can, you know, take over a game.
Sure.
And, you know, it works with those type of guys. Giannis, Jokic, you know, those type of guys. It probably could work. But dominating the ball as a small guard, and then when they need you, we all know in crunch time, if that's your offense, they're going to need you to make a play at the end of the game when it's tough, when they put their best defender on you.
Brunson has done that.
Yes, but at what cost? But at what cost? At cost of him turning the ball. What if they forced them the Knicks turnover last game? What about 15, 16 turnovers?
Well, I don't think that was the problem more than the Pacers tripled the Knicks in transition points. Tripled them.
Oh, for what?
That's because of the turnovers.
Was it the turnovers? Was it the turnovers?
I mean, a lot of the turnovers, they push anyway.
Right. They already
But how many turnovers? I think it was like 17 turnovers. Like, if I'm not mistaken, it was even.
They had 18 turnovers. They had 18 turnovers.
That's a lot of turnovers. But that's what I'm saying. So as far as you moving the ball, bro, I think Cat and Brunson, the way that they can handle the ball and play out of closeouts, even OG is an underrated player out of closeouts, bro. So I think the way you move the ball and just get them more of a system. Like, what is the Knicks system besides Jalen Brunson dominating the basketball?
That's something that I was talking about going into the season this year, which was the Knicks finding an identity. Is something that they really need to do. They did that at the latter half of last season when Brunson was pushing them, I think, up to the second seed in the Eastern Conference or third seed, whatever it was. But he was pushing them so hard, it made everybody sit back and say, damn, we talking about MVPs for Giannis and Jokic and all these other, but what about Brunson? Like, that was what the conversation was based on, what he was doing for that offense. Fast forward to this playoff series, and my thought process when watching the Knicks was this. You have an undersized point guard who, when he's on, you know, he's a fourth quarter demon. We know who Brunson is when he's on fire, but we do know that he also can't really play that well of defense. Match that with your starting center and Karl Anthony Towns, who I'm literally about to start renaming to the drop coverage demon, because I don't know what the hell Cat.
He's hurt too, though, but he's also hurt too. I think
he's been hurt for 11 years.
No. But he been hurt. He's been hurt since the playoffs started.
Thank you, Mark.
This time.
It's with Cat. It's like sometimes you got to take the good with the bad, and I know some Minnesota fans have seen that in, you know, limited postseason success when he was there. But you had some instances like that where he could provide you with like he'll have games where he's just a solid defender. He's playing just a big game. He can get you 10, 12 rebounds.
Has he been a solid defender though, or he's been on a good defensive team where they're able to cover up a lot of his mistakes? So, for example, in Minnesota last year, he's on a damn good defensive team,
right?
Where they're able to cover up a lot of his mistakes. Number one, he doesn't have to guard the 5. Rudy's got to guard the 5. Yeah. Number two, him guarding the 4, he's got so much more help because they're loaded up on that side with him being able to cover the 4. Now, him being in New York, being a 4-man because he's playing beside Mitchell Robinson, they don't have the personnel to hide the deficiencies that he has like they did in Minnesota. So it looks a lot worse.
Why not? But why not change that? Well, why not? This is my thing too. Like, okay, Cat sucks at this, but Tibbs, make an adjustment. You're gonna have to find an adjustment to make for this. Don't just
what adjustment can you make though, Jordan?
I don't know.
He could have with staggering Brunson and Cat's minutes together though.
Yeah.
And you put Cat in with a Shamit, Delon Wright.
He ain't do that too much. He ain't do that too much. You guys ain't play that much.
Another thing,
there's only so much in the conference finals you can go to DeLon Wright. Like,
on top of that, Mars, good point. But on top of that too, Cat was in foul. Cat had some really stupid fouls in this series to the point.
Another thing that's been happening for 11 years.
Now that's what I was about to say. With Cat, you try to take the good with the bad because he isn't necessarily the most disciplined defender, especially at his position. Like a lot of the issues that I see with Cat that piss me off, I get when I watch Jaren Jackson play, where it's like, dude, you could be looked at as a perennial defensive player of the year candidate if you just knew how to keep some of your fouls in your back pocket. Cat has some stupid ass fouls where it's just like he's just not understanding positioning or he's not understanding angles and stuff like that, or where the referee is, to the point where if Stan Van Gundy and the crew is talking about why would you make that foul knowing that your team is in this specific position. Now, though that stuff could be fixed, chill. But Mars said it's 11 years of this nigga not growing up on defense.
Yeah.
That's
frustration too. ZZ, it's a lot of frustration fouls, a lot of tic-tac fouls. Sometimes you get frustrated, something happened down there, and you just
do it.
Just make an airhead move. That shit happens so often.
But do y'all think they lost because of their defense, or you think they lost? Yes. What do y'all think? I think they lost. I think they
lost because of transition.
Yes, that was what was
right. So to me, transition comes from, and sometimes good shots on offense can create better defense. Whether make a miss. So I think, bro, I've been saying this for a long time though. It's only certain teams that can win without a system. Certain players that can win without a system. I think Gilbert Arenas was the first person to say, maybe he wasn't Gilbert, but he's talking about how LeBron would probably have way more titles if he played in the system. I 1000% agree with that. Like
I could get with that.
As great as
but
LeBron
he did play in the
James
system,
did.
though. The system changed in 2012. It was less James on the ball, more ball movement, more action.
Okay, but what system was that?
And then they started winning.
There you go.
That was only 4 years though. Like when he went to Cleveland, were they back in the system?
When he got back to being LeBron,
what do you guys define as a system? Because it's
the triangle. The triangle.
Because if a guy dominates the ball, that just means the team has no system. It's just.
That's their system.
Somebody dominating the ball might be
the system. It's James Harden. I am the system.
I think even heliocentric offenses look different.
That's true.
The Knicks offense this year doesn't look the same as the Mavs offense did in 2023. Like they don't look the same. They're both heliocentric. So if they look different, does that not mean they're both systems? They're just systems.
And we can also really quickly, Jordan, and we could use that same logic, Mars, with dumping the ball in Olajuwon. That's our system. We throw the ball into the big fella and we operate off of him.
But
we dump the ball into Jabbar and we operate off Jabbar.
Right. Yeah, like I'm just confused. What does system mean? That's what I'm asking.
Okay. So you're right. When I say system, I guess I need to specify more of a team-oriented, everybody touch the ball type of system. That type of joint.
Warriors,
like a 2014
Warriors triangle offense. The Pacers. Constant motion passing and cut. The Spurs run a lot of zipper actions. I love those actions too, where they set them little off-ball screens. Those type of things. Not Ron. Hey, go corner. I'm gonna beat my man.
I know it's 2025.
All right, Monster. What the hell?
Okay. I feel like I'm hip to what you guys are doing. It's 2025. I gotta get with the lingo. Zipper action.
Yeah, it's a cross screen.
I gotta get with the lingo. I do.
It's a cross.
I feel like I'm on y'all page. Yeah,
it's a flex ring.
I feel like
That's
I'm
what
on
it
y'all
is.
page, but
But it's the angle. That's why they call it a zipper.
Okay, all right. I know horns, and
Educate me, thank you.
I'm
Jordan
I
James in
definitely
this
get
bitch. I
with
feel you.
Yeah,
the
it's
lingo,
the
but I
angle
just
that
got to
you
get
do.
with the lingo. That's all.
It looks like a zipper. Like that's why they call it that type of thing. That's what it looks like when you
Mhm.
coming over the top from it.
I
That's
got
all
you.
it is.
I'm with you. All right.
But
Yo,
I like those systems though. By the way,
I
See,
do
Jordan
wanna
on the
bring
wrong
this up
podcast. Need to be on Mind of the Game. That's what
because
yeah,
I ain't heard them talking about no actions this season, but that's besides the point.
Mars had brought up essentially, well, the odds.
Mhm.
And right here on the screen, you can see the biggest favorites in finals history. And you can see right there at 7, at minus 700. This series is, well, one of the more lopsided odds heading into the finals. And I mean, we can go through all the rest of them, and they weren't actually all that good of series.
I mean, to be fair, the teams with the same odds as OKC, they're 1-1. Just saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
To
talking
be
about with
fair,
Detroit and the Rockets.
yeah. Houston lost, but Detroit won. They 1-1 in the 21st century.
Yeah,
Technically, that means
It's
Indiana
possible.
gonna win.
It's possible.
I don't know, man. I just think I also want to see. You know, this the game for me with Oklahoma City is if can we after this series can we definitively say that Jalen Williams is a number 2 for sure? Like he's the second dude. You know, all the talk
He's
about
not already?
him. I think it's questions.
There's been a lot of people saying that like J-Dub isn't good enough for offensive.
I didn't think he was there
Yeah,
yet. To be honest with you, I thought we were still
Do
a
you-
year away.
Do you think he's there right now, Chill?
I'm not.
I think the jury is still out until they win.
The reason why,
until
Why
they
is the jury out?
Okay,
J-Dub's
Ron, let's
there.
not. We're gonna need him.
Okay,
It's
okay,
hard. It's
real
hard.
quick.
To,
Just
good.
the only thing I would say about J-Dub is offensively, I still think there's some holes to his game, but the Thunder are well equipped as a team to where they don't need him to show up as a second option as consistently as maybe some other second options will. So
Like a
The
Pascal
first option who didn't show up a couple
Tyrese
games and they won too.
Absolutely, because
exactly
the team is
that's the
good
point.
enough.
Yes.
Okay,
Mars
see what
and
you guys
John
are
D.
saying.
Yeah.
Yes,
I see what you guys are saying, but
Mars and
he's
John
still-
D.
He's still
Look,
legit.
listen though,
He's
Mars
great.
and John D.
He's really good
Mars
player.
and John D.
Really.
Listen, I get y'all take about this team being so great, and I believe y'all, and I'm with you. This is the NBA Finals now.
Mhm.
Your 1 and 2 gonna have to show up.
Then they're gonna have to be
100%.
And it can't be where we're going up against flawed. Look, usually, hold on, because usually in the conference finals, you go up against some flawed teams. Now, I'm only saying this to say, not saying that there's been a history of teams in the NBA finals that wasn't flawed. Of course they are. But usually when a team makes it to the finals, they have less flaws than the team, whether that be injuries or whatever the case may be, whatever excuse you want to use. Usually you get 2 least flawed teams in the NBA going up against each other. And they kind of cancel each other out on some things they do good. This team do that well on defense. They kind of cancel each other out. This is where your 1 and 2 guys have to step up and man up. And this is where they get their name. We saw with Chris Middleton got his name as a number 2. Now they did some bullshit with Chris Middleton after, which they gonna regret.
Shout out to Kyle Kuzma, man.
Yeah, that's crazy as hell. But this is where the 1 and 2 steps up. We seen it with goddamn Pascal in Toronto. With Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
We seen that. Shit, you see it with the Warriors. I mean,
But-
they had
but-
1, 2, and 3, but shit, I mean,
Jordan,
same shit.
to that Toronto series, like that was a great point. But I think to Mars and John D's point about what separates this Thunder team from other instances is the fact that, one, if J-Dub to have a decent game as a number 2 means to me like 21 plus on good efficiency,
Yeah.
right?
I
You
would
know what I'm
agree,
saying? Like and for a normal good J-Dub game is that with like 5 rebounds, 6 assists, whatever it is, like one of the two.
Mhm.
But with this Thunder team, what I've noticed in this postseason is in those instances where he may not have it going, like off rip, they can have unsung heroes on this team too. Or Chet Holmgren stepping into that second option role a little bit in certain spots and certain spurts. And then you have Alex Caruso, who, in my opinion, that's the Swiss Army knife of this entire team. Because the fact that they could put this man on whoever the biggest opposition is, and or say, All right, we'll put you in a corner. You got to knock down 2 threes here.
Oh
Like,
shit,
that's
him and
their
Pascal gonna be a tough fucking matchup.
Championship DNA, man.
Caruso,
Bro,
Pascal,
Pascal and Chet is gonna be a bro. This is gonna be. I know everybody been pushing over the Pacers. Pat gave a really good point about the Pacers about how fucking tough they are. This is gonna be a really, really tough series for Oklahoma City because number one, the speed. The load up is a little bit hard for when you play against a team that fast, that's that willing to get off the ball early and continue to make plays. And Pascal's going to be an X factor too, man. Him being able to duck in on little bitty guards like Caruso, and he ain't going to duck in at the elbow. We're going to see Pascal duck in right underneath that basket. And, you know, I love Caruso, but 6'10", 6'4",
Hey, George,
I would love to see.
Hey, you can get away with this shit with Julius Randle. Who else was he locking up?
Jokic. Don't forget about Jokic.
No, Triple J. You can get away with this shit with Triple J.
At that high elbow.
You can get away with this shit with Jokic.
Every guard, I mean, you got Nembhard and Tyrese Halliburton can make those passes that those guys on Minnesota and Denver can't make them entry. Bro,
Just the issue.
How the hell we talking about entry passes in the NBA?
I've been speaking about it for years, Jordan. I've been speaking about it for years.
Bro, Coutinho Mobley, shout out Coutinho Mobley because he just commented on one of my videos and he said something about the entry pass, like guards being able to know to take the right angles on the entry pass. He said he had to learn that his rookie year playing with Hakeem about how the bigs wouldn't give you the ball. I mean, they wouldn't move out the way for a driving angle if you couldn't get a right entry pass. And it's like, bro, this shit's supposed to be elementary. We are in the NBA pros talking about entry passes, and look at the two teams. Oklahoma City just played Minnesota, who like to post up, who make it very difficult. And then Denver, the same way. They getting them on entry passes. These lobs, steal, bounce. We can't even seal the motherfucker at the elbow to get the ball. Caruso just getting hands on the ball. Like, this is what we talking about.
With all that said. I do have OKC in 5, but it should be an interesting series. Look, now I want the Pacers to push I want the Pacers to get at least 2. I want Halliburton to have a 40-point triple-double.
Whatever. Go 7.
I want that. But Oklahoma,
30-point triple-double, Mars. Come on now.
Oklahoma, this OKC defense a different monster, man.
That defense, bro. I'm telling you, dog. Like the fact that they can just be like, "Oh, he doing this. All right, let's sub him in. Let's take him out. Let's change this."
Is this offense a different monster, ZZ?
Here's my thing. You talk about entry passes,
they went
right?
against this postseason.
Going into
Indiana.
Right. With Indiana, they are the one team that I can definitively say you can't like judge a book by its cover, I guess, but because that transition is insane. Their transition offense is crazy. They would have to lock in the way that they did in that game 6, which that game was the only game in that series where they were that locked in to make sure Jalen Brunson didn't get off anything.
I'm also curious to see how they're gonna guard Shea. Man, I just cannot wait to see.
You got a bigger guard. Shea's what, like 6'5". He's a
Nembhard on him.
Two-way guard at that.
So good.
They might put Nembhard on it.
Real quick.
They're gonna put Nembhard on him.
Surprised to see Jerace Walker in this series. I would. Hey,
you saw him last series.
Is he
gonna be able to play? He rolled that ankle real good.
He did?
Damn. Yeah, he rolled that ankle.
He young. He healed in real time. The young guy healed in real time, right before your eyes.
Real good.
Put Jerace,
right when you look at the young people,
they just heal up. Switch it.
Let me ask y'all this question too. In head-to-head matchups this season, I know the regular season in any series that they had, people are like, oh, well, this happened and this happened. But I will say it is alarming that Halliburton averages 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists on 44, 36, 100% splits. And Shea averages 39, 7, and 8.
I'm not trying to hit none of that, ZZ, because Jason Tatum averaged 34, 7, and 7, and they smoked the Knicks every time that they played them. And if Jason Tatum doesn't get hurt, I still think that
you're right. No. I'm with you on that. So Tatum, regular season, I feel like Tatum is different.
As much as I want to roll with the regular season, because I do care about the regular season. 100% I do. I do care about the regular season. But when I see what these dudes do in the playoffs, and I see how much they adjust, especially with a team like the Boston Celtics, when they are so reliant on something that could go south quickly. When they're so reliant on that, this team right here in Indiana, this is completely different because they're relying on something that we could keep doing it. Even if it's not working, we could keep doing it and eventually get going. We can eventually get layups. We can eventually get stop and pops. We can cause turnovers. We can keep running. When you're shooting the long ball, if we living and dying on that, more times than not, once it's not working, we can't just keep shooting it and hope it goes in. We can keep running.
That's
and
what
we can keep going.
Another thing I want to
I think the transition stuff is being grossly underrated for the Thunder. I'm sorry. The Thunder play in transition. They play in transition just as much as Indiana does.
Well, Morris, that's why I didn't bring it up, though, Mark. That's why I didn't bring it up.
I understand what the Pacers do, but it's being 100%. Transition is being used as an advantage for the Pacers, which I don't.
It just look different, Morris. It just look different, Morris.
All you can say is that they transition. They both got transition, but the Pacers may be a little bit faster in transition. That's it. They both got transition.
It's about how they get into transition. It's about how they get. It's different. It looks a lot different. OKC's different. OKC's transition looks to me, from what I see, it's more based on their defense and getting out and running. So while mind you, I still think it's the same. I'm with you, Mars. I just think it's not talked about because it's different ways. I think Indiana, they're quick to get good outlet passes.
Yes,
they can. I think they can turn more things into transition. Well as OKC's
they'll push off misses or makes. OKC
right. They can. But I remember we talked about that before with the I forgot who was that, you or was that Penn? When we were talking about not being never either way.
If it was a smart take, it's probably me. So just
right. Yeah, I figured. But okay. See, I think theirs comes more from defense, turnovers. Like you see a lot where it says points off a turnover instead of just points in transition. Whereas the Pacers, Pascal might get a long rebound, take a couple dribbles, kick it up, or Hallie get it off, kick it up. They're moving more that way. I just think it looks a little different, and they get their transition from different aspects of the game. You know what I'm saying? OKC is definitely really good in transition,
and they rely on.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh, I was about to say, what do you think about? My bad, John D. Because I was going to ask Ox this question. He's talking about transition defense. What do you think about, even with the Pacers' transition defense, about when they score, how they guards stay up? Like, you don't think that's going to wear the Thunder down a little bit? Yeah.
Oklahoma City does the same thing.
You got to stop.
Right. Yeah. Do you think it's going to wear the Pacers down?
Yeah, Casey Wallace does the same thing.
No, but that's why I said. But look, this is why I said all of this shit. These are flawless teams. This was the point I was making about them canceling each other out. That's why I think this is a really good series, and it's going to have to be the 1 and 2. That's going to have to make this series what it is.
This is what I'm
Jordan, I got the Pacers guards. I got more faith in the Pacers guards as far as getting the ball up the court than OKC. Okay. So in transition, once again, like I know it comes different. So when you get it off of steal, it's hard to stop that. Like when they get transition off the steal, usually nobody's back. But for the Pacers, if they're getting it off offensive rebounds, hopefully SGA is already getting back. Somebody's already getting back. But once again, though, so depending on how the transition comes, whether it's out of defense or out of long rebounds or just quick outlet passes, we've seen the Pacers outrunning the Knicks off of made baskets, right? I just think the Pacers guards are going to be more able to handle the pressure. Although I think OKC's pressure is a little heavier than the Pacers. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I think it might even out a little bit.
But it ain't even just the guards. Pascal run his ass off. Like, I think that's the Pascal being at the 4 or 5. He run his ass off. You don't really see.
That's why we can't go with Hartenstein. I'm trying to Hartenstein.
That's what I'm saying.
Shout out to my guy,
really
man.
See that shit, bro.
14 minutes a game.
Whoa.
I know Kendrick Perkins was getting played off the floor.
Am I hearing this correctly? Because again, Mars, I know that we have playoff series where there's guys like we'll have a matchup in the first round, we'll have a matchup in the second round where a guy can't play. Are we talking about being in the NBA finals where we playing somebody off the floor?
Yes.
I think Mark Dagnall's proactive, not reactive. I don't think he's going to wait for Isaiah Hartenstein to show that he's not.
Unless Isaiah Hartenstein
from game 1, I expect 18 minutes. Yeah. And I think if he plays well, they'll stay around 18. If he's not, by the end of the series, we'll be at around 14 minutes. Like, that's
Chet. What about Chet ass? Like,
Chet will be fine. He can be fine.
But this is my thing. Bro. The Pacers might have the only team where all 5 guys run, not even just the guards running. Bro, Pascal run the most to me on that team.
For sure.
Well, I'm watching him get a block They outlet it, and this motherfucker Pascal take off like a gazelle.
Yeah, but Jordan, like you said earlier,
Caruso can stay with him.
Yeah.
As long as they get out.
This is why this is John D. This is why this is one of the better fits for Siakam when he got traded to Indiana. Considering the kind of transition team, we actually had a conversation about the best transition players in the game. I was thinking, I'm not sure that I could name 3 transition players in the game better than Pascal Siakam. It was Giannis, it was James, it was Giannis, it was James, and then after that, it was like, all right, well,
somebody better than James in that motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
Jaylen Brown. That's what it was. LeBron in transition. It was Jaylen Brown, but then after that, it was real tricky. So this is what I'm thinking. To Ox's point, where those transition points, where Oklahoma City comes from, right? Where those transition points come from, they come from defense. So what I want to do with Halliburton is I'm thinking about John D as a quarterback. I don't want you to sit in the pocket and throw all day. So I'm not putting one-on-one coverage on Halliburton. I need to get the peel out of his hands. I need to get those other guys to make decisions, and I need to speed those other guys up and make those guys do things that they're unaccustomed to. That's going to force more. That's going to force more turnovers. That's going to force more bad shots, and that's going to be able to speed us up. Now, if I can do that, I feel like I'm putting us in a position that when the game slows down, I feel like I'm putting us in a position where we can win.
The only thing I look at that with that
right quick, John D.
You're never gonna get this one. You're never gonna get this one.
John D.
Go ahead, John. Go ahead, John. Nobody's responding to John because right after this, I gotta tell the people about something. But go ahead, John.
Okay, the only thing I wanted to bring up is because you talked about how you're bringing help to get the ball out of Halliburton's hand. OKC usually sends that help from the low side where they're helping off of the corners because they've given up the most corner threes in the playoffs so far. The Pacers are actually shooting 47% from corner threes all postseason. So are you going to help off the corner and now Aaron Nesmith gets a good look, or are you going to help off Andrew Nembhard, who is going to attack out of corners and he can make every single decision as well? So you're going to be moving the ball a lot. So it's going to be really predicated off where you send the help instead of just sending the help, because Hallie in situations like that can make the right decision majority of the time. If it's drop, he'll make it. Blitz, he'll make it. Hedge, he'll make it. And he can make the pass to the corner, whether it's the opposite side or the strong side, to where you can be in rotation. It's just how fast is that OKC team going to be?
All right, y'all.
My bad, John D. We can't respond.
I gotta let y'all know about a beautiful purple place called PrizePicks, where you can run your game, control your game, and win your game. And see, the cool thing about it is when you play just $5, you will get $50 back instantly in promo funds, but only when you use promo code PANEL. Now, just to let you guys in on a little secret, this is kind of what we rocking with for game 1. Now, Big Ox.
Hold on. I got you. There you go.
I mean, we could talk about that one. But, okay. I mean, all right, my man Big Ox did a little combination in game 1 of the NBA Finals with, some better hoops. Some WNBA hoops. He got Kiki going for 22 points and rebounds, more than 22 points and rebounds, and that is actually tonight. So, Kiki, do what you do best. He got K-Mac going for 3 threes. And if you know who K-Mac is, her demon threes should really be like 4. But either way it goes, 3 threes for K-Mac. That's, money in the bank. SGA going for more than 33.5. And that's not a demon pick. They have SGA at 33.5. And then he has Hallie going for more than 26.5 points and assists. I think this is good money. You should think this is good money. And if you do, go ahead and copy and paste this. All right, y'all. That's how we rocking our PrizePicks. Also, on the Gametime app, this is where you can get in the game. Like, for real. It's going to be a hard-ass time trying to, get NBA Finals tickets. It's going to be a hard time trying to crack these small markets because, the Pacers have been waiting forever to get to the finals. The Thunder have been waiting for, over 10 years to get to the finals. And now these two teams are finally back. So how do you get into the game? Well, you get into the game by downloading the Gametime app, and that's where you'll be able to get hard-to-get tickets for playoffs, and you'll be able to get them fast, and you'll be able to get them easy. The prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. They got killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seats, and they have the lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time, quite simply, just takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets by downloading the app, creating an account, using promo code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but as you guys know, in the words of a great big ox, who gives a goddamn about some goddamn terms? Use promo code CLNS and get $20 off your purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Damn them terms. Get last-minute tickets. Lowest prices guaranteed, and damn them terms. Let's get in the game, y'all. All right. So now that we're back here and everything, and we've acknowledged that fuck them terms, I want to let you guys know, or ask you guys, if you will, do y'all really think the Pacers are scared of this OKC defense? And not so scared. I know, Chill, you gonna say you ain't gotta get scared to get your ass whooped. And I get that. I get that. I'm saying, do you guys actually really believe that Halliburton, Pascal, and the gang and Rick Carlisle is really concerned about this defense?
Ron.
If they're not concerned, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say this. I want y'all to go back and watch Tyrese's post-game interview from Game 6. I was listening to each and every single one of his responses to make sure, because this nigga's on the Cups are going to the NBA Finals. If that was me, it's up. Oh yeah, we know that they're gonna give him the political correct answer. Yeah, they got a good team on the other side. We know that they're prepared, but we're prepared too. He didn't say none of that. She was like, you got another team over there. People are forgetting the number 1 seed in the league, 670 pace win team over there with a defense that we haven't seen in quite some time. If they ain't concerned, they might be having cold sweats or something. Like they're gonna be going back to the drawing board trying to rerun the plays, because the plays that they were running to get Aaron Nesmith them looks late in them games to come back in that Knicks was it game 2, game 3? That shit ain't gonna happen against the Oklahoma City defense. They gonna say, Caruso, stop that nigga. Not like that, but stop him. Like stop. They gonna be like, no,
hey,
like,
did he say what?
They be like,
Caruso, his ass. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, Caruso. If that's what they catch in the locker room, if somebody is saying in the locker room to Caruso, the Thunder going under investigation. They going under the Caruso gate.
That's all.
Ron, what we have for the
going under the Caruso
what
gate.
we have, Ron, for the Oklahoma City
Caruso,
Thunder.
get that nigga.
What we have for Oklahoma City, Ron, if you Indiana, is a healthy respect for them. You're not afraid of them. You have a healthy respect for this team. You know what they're good at. You know what they're good at doing. You know what they're going to try to stop you from doing, and you respect that. But we're not going into this game weary, like, oh, can we get this done? Can we run out? Can we run our offense? Am I going to be able to take care of the basketball? No. As a competitor, Tyrese Halliburton in particular, knowing what this does for him as a player, this is the ultimate test for my game. This is the ultimate test for who I am. Going up against this Oklahoma City defense, where on paper, y'all were telling me that this is arguably the best defense in NBA history. Well, if I'm one of the better league guards in the game, I absolutely want to go up against them to see where I am, especially for the NBA championship. 100% I want to do that. If we are the offense that everybody says that if we are one of the better offenses in the NBA, I 100% want to go up against them to see where we are. And especially if we win it, what it looks like on our resume. This is who we beat. This is who we
Still, no sane person in that locker room is like, yes, we got OKC.
Okay, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. No,
I know, but what I'm saying, like, I get what you mean by like proving that we beat the best or whatever, but that's not how you win. That's how you lose.
No, what I'm saying is that we're going up against this Oklahoma City team. Right. This is the ultimate test for who we are. It's not, yes, we get Oklahoma City, but it's more like, okay, now we get to see who we really are going up against these guys. This is the ultimate test for us, as opposed
to they'd much rather be playing Memphis.
Of course,
right.
If we had
yeah, Mars, how Memphis catch a straight this late in the season? They shit don't never last this long, Mars.
If we being honest, Indiana would have loved to have seen Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals. Hell yeah,
absolutely,
would have. No doubt about that. But we get to see the Knicks. So okay, if we go up against the Knicks, we beat these guys. What does this say about us? What does this say about who we are to be able to get to the NBA Finals beating them? Well, if we go up against Oklahoma City, who's got 2 guys, not one, they got 2 guys on the all-league defensive team. They won almost 70 games. Not only did they win almost 70 games, they got the league MVP on their squad. we can't go into this series thinking, wow, man, these guys are fantastic. How are we going to do this? No, we're going into this series thinking, yo, we have things that are comparable to theirs. And because we got things that are comparable to theirs, we can now match wits and we can match skills to see where we are. Otherwise, we're going to get smoked if we go in here thinking, how am I going to beat these guys? No,
well, I don't think they think that, but at the same time, they got to still be like, you know what I'm saying? We have to play. We know who we're playing against. So we have to take care of the ball. We can't see. I didn't really want to get too much into it when I think Jordan, when we were talking about turnover. Somebody was talking about turnovers and passes. I didn't want to get too much into it. No, Mars was entry passes and stuff like that. Like it's not just entry passes, it's passes alone. I'm seeing dudes trying to do chest passes through the key and all types of dumb shit, just lobbing the ball around, you know, like you can't do that with OKC. So my point with that, Chill, is like, yeah, you might be like, okay, we get to prove ourselves against this team, but I think you more so go into this series and understand like we are in grave danger right now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we ain't just
let's not. I
don't know if you go into there thinking we in grave danger.
Well, yes, no, yes, you are in grave danger right now. Don't fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be in the middle of the key trying like Pascal. Don't have the ball on at the 12-foot line back to the basket doing this dribbling. Yeah. No, make a quick move because you are in danger, nigga. Like you don't got no time to play with the ball.
We walking into your hood knowing that it's some dudes around here that if we don't come in here and get what we came to get, we gonna get our asses kicked.
Man, see, y'all better have one up top. Jordan, y'all better have one up top. They don't got no time to cock that thing. Y'all better be ready. Y'all be ready to go. They gotta walk into
the mean streets of Gary, Indiana too. They gotta walk up too. They gotta walk into the mean streets of Gary, Indiana.
John D.
Come on now.
John D. Ain't nobody talking about Lou Dort. Can you bring up Lou Dort in this?
Hey, I actually wanted to. I'm real fast. I'm just going to talk about how the OKC Thunder, the Pacers, should walk in. They shouldn't be overconfident because if you're overconfident and you're not worried about the Thunder defense, you're not going to win a game. But then again, if they're too scared, they're not going to win either. So you have to be aware. You just have to be aware of what the Thunder can do and what we can do to counter it. Because if you walk in like, oh, we just made the finals, we're not worried about them. You're not going to win. You're not going to win.
Why shouldn't
you're going to be lazy on the perimeter if you're going to
be Thunder should have the same level of if the Thunder go into the series like, yeah, we ain't worried about Indiana pushing the ball off these rebounds. We ain't worried about their transition offense.
They gonna run
like that's stupid. You go into these series like even when the Thunder went into the series against Memphis, there should be a level of appropriate fear that we know these are a group of NBA players.
Well, maybe not Memphis.
Now, even with Memphis, because we know Memphis were an elite transition team, just like Indiana is.
No, and Ja had a figured out.
And then guess what? OKC did against Memphis? They just stifled their whole transition offense. That's what they did. Like you have to be aware of what these teams are good at. Every team in the playoffs is good at something. That doesn't mean that they're a great overall team. That doesn't mean they don't have flaws. But even a team like Memphis, who I think were the worst team in the Western Conference playoffs, had strengths, and their particular strengths were Jaren Jackson mismatch attacking and transition offense. Those were their two main strengths, and then Ja Morant rim pressure. Those were their three main strengths. They took away the Jaren Jackson mismatch completely. He was out the series. He was trash.
And they took away
Memphis transition offense. That was something that was trash. And for 2 games, they took away Ja Morant's rim pressure. Now, the third game, he was looking a lot better, but then obviously, but like they took away that for half the series. So they did that. And then even when like a team like Houston, which was a very flawed half-court offense, Golden State knew this is a team that dominates on the glass. This is a team that dominates on defense. We have to go into the series aware of those things. And even though Houston are an extremely flawed team, they still took the Warriors to 7, get into a game 7 after being down 3-1 because of what they were capable of doing. So every team in the playoffs is capable of something. That doesn't mean they're great. Some teams are never going to come close to the championship because they're just not that good. But every team has strengths, and OKC have to be aware of Indiana's strengths. And maybe not even how to counter them, just to stifle them somewhat, or even just find the weaknesses that counter the other team's strengths. I highly doubt you're going to take away Indiana's transition game. I think that's just something they have. But what weaknesses they have that you can exploit? That's what it has to be. What can we find that nullifies their transition game? Not how do we nullify their transition game? I don't think that's
rebounding.
So, but Ron, I just want to make sure to be clear because I see that you almost lost your mind. I'm not saying that the other team, you know what I'm saying, don't got action too. On top of that, I want to make it very clear that I'm not saying anybody should be scared having fear is how you stay alive. That's not being scared. You know what I'm saying? That's just recognizing
Mike Tyson
danger.
went into every fight. He said he was scared to death.
You know what I'm saying? That's
Mike Tyson went into. He said
that's recognizing danger. But Ron, to your point though, like, okay, see, only point I was trying to make is that you can't, like, at this point in the game or this point in the season, we don't got time to just be, oh, we got this or this and that. No, you got to understand, you can't be out here making mistakes. You got to take care of the basketball. You have to for OKC, they got to get back, stop the ball, rebound, all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got five guys on the court. You have to be able to have somebody crash the offensive glass, also have somebody stop the ball, and also have somebody getting back on defense all at the same time, because you understand the type of danger you're in. You know what I'm saying? It's not. I'm not saying that they don't got nothing to worry about as well. You know what I'm saying? It go both ways. But Ron, when you're a big game hunter, that's dangerous business. You know what I'm saying? Like the hunter becomes the hunted all the time. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only point I'm trying to make.
Are we in danger, or because we shorten our margin of error, we have ourselves a legit shot at winning, as opposed to if we don't shorten our margin of error, we're in extreme danger. Like going into. I
should have said it that way, too. That's exactly what I was trying to say. Yeah,
I just want to make sure that I'm following you, Ops, because going into this series,
go work correcting him, Chill.
To Mars's point, going into this series, we know for a fact that the Memphis Grizzlies, their strength is to get up and down the floor. Their strength is to go. Their strength is for Jaren Jackson to attack mismatches. Okay, so there's an appropriate respect for Jaren Jackson being a one-on-one player and attacking mismatches. We got to focus in on that, because if we don't, we're going to get our ass kicked. Because I've seen Jaren Jackson go after Giannis. Jaren Jackson can exploit mismatches and go after guys immediately. Okay, so we're going to load up. We're going to jump him. We're going to make him more of a distributor. Get the ball out of his hands. We're going to take him out. We're going to take him out of the offense. Okay, that's one thing. Sure. Now we got Memphis, who's a great transition team, and they got their point guard, who's a great transition player. How the hell are we going to slow these guys down? Well, the way we slow these guys down is we got to get the point of attack to be right in front with Ja Morant, because when they throw the ball ahead to Desmond Bane, well, they're not nearly as effective in transition as they are with Ja Morant having the basketball or somebody like that. So, okay, that's another issue that we have figured out. Indiana comes into this series, Oklahoma City comes into this series looking at Indiana going, all right, they're not going to stop, even if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't have the ball. They're going to keep running. They're going to get the ball ahead to Mathurin. They're going to get the ball ahead to Pascal Siakam. They're going to get the ball ahead to Obi Toppin. How can we minimize this in order for us to have a shot at slowing these guys down and slowing down their transition game? Because if we can do that, then we got a shot at winning.
I'm trying to tell you guys that OKC should be scared, and you guys are just missing the whole boat.
You keep saying scared, Ron. Scared is not the word. There's an appropriate respect. I'm not afraid of you. I understand what's at stake here. I'm not afraid of you, but I have a very healthy respect for what you do. I'm not walking into this going, yeah, I got this dude down, because that's how I'm gonna get all my teeth knocked out. Not some of them or most of them. I'm gonna get all my teeth knocked out coming into this saying that, because I think that you cookies. Yeah, I'm gonna get all my teeth knocked out like that.
Chill, you're right. Scared isn't the word. It's another S word. Shook.
Okay, shook is worse than scared, shook. Ron. Well, shook is worse, because here's the difference. Because if I'm scared, I'm already afraid. Shook is I was confident, and now all of a sudden you done completely shook me like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't prepared for that. I don't have anything for that. We ain't there yet. We haven't seen Oklahoma City shake Indiana. We haven't seen Oklahoma City shake Indiana yet. We haven't seen that yet. But there is a healthy respect for this team. It has to be.
All right, y'all. Well, I have a healthy respect for everybody that's in the chat. I have a healthy respect for all of our members, all of our subscribers. And I also have a healthy respect for the people that don't watch the show live, but leave good comments after the show, baby. We got the top 5 comments of the week. Let's go ahead and get into it, and let's see what the people had to say about what we had to say. All right, the first comment we got comes courtesy of Nook No Ball. Episode 570. Nook said 2000 Shaq, 0203 Duncan, 04 KG, 09, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, Bron, 14 KD, 16 Steph, 20 Giannis, 22 and 24 Jokic, 23 Embiid are all greater than 25 Shea.
Who was the MVP in 21? Jokic was, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. He just don't got him. Okay.
Nah. 21 Jokic was the tough one for me. I favored Jokic slightly, but I can go either way. 15 Steph was one. I gave the edge to SGA. In hindsight, I'd probably give that one to Steph as well. I think I ended up with like Shea's MVP, like 18th of the last 26.
I saw you do that, Mars. I didn't say nothing when you did it, but I'm glad you walked it back. So
Nash and Dirk get no love, but that's crazy.
Oh, I mean, I had 06 Nash slightly better than SGA's MVP season. So can I read what I can read what I had real quick?
What did you have, Mars?
I had Shaq clearing SGA. So just their MVP regular season. That's all this is. So who played better in their MVP regular season? No playoffs included, no storylines, just who was better. That's it. So I had 2000 Shaq clearing. I had SGA over 01 AI. I had Duncan over 02 Duncan over SGA. I had 03 Duncan over SGA. 04 KG over SGA. I had SGA over 05 Nash. I had 06 Nash slightly over SGA, like barely. I had SGA slightly over 07 Dirk. I had SGA slightly over 08 Kobe. I had LeBron clearing SGA. 09 LeBron and 2010 LeBron clearing SGA. I had SGA over Derrick Rose in 2011. I had LeBron in 12 and 13 clearing SGA. I had KD over SGA in 14. I now have Steph slightly over SGA in 15.
What's
16
the difference,
Steph
Mars?
clearing.
Stop right there, Mars. Stop right
Yes.
there. 15 Steph. What's the separator?
I think the offensive impact is comparable. In fact, I would favor Steph. I think what I was underselling was the low minutes that Steph was playing. He was playing like 33 minutes a game. He sat out 24 quarters. This is a Warriors team that was devoid of a lot of offensive talent outside of him and like Clay. And they were able to produce elite offense with him on the floor. I think he had like a plus 18 net differential. Someone brought that to my attention. I think what I was focusing too much on was the lower scoring volume, but the fact of the matter was that Steph was still breaking the league with his ability to shoot threes out of pick and roll. And like it was giving the Warriors a very strong offensive advantage every time down the floor. And it's something I wasn't really accounting for when I first did it. So accounting for that, I think I give Steph the slight edge over SGA. I still think it's close. And then I think 16, he just took a major leap and it's not even close.
Mars, so be clear. So I want you to keep going. So be clear. I mean, SGA, he only played what, 2 more minutes than
something like that
year. I think,
but
if I'm not mistaken,
there's more possessions now in 2 minutes than there was back.
Because I was about to say, I mean, SGA got a 34-point game this year where he only played 22 minutes.
I mean, SGA gonna score at a rate that only like really Embiid just was really matching in recent times. But I still think a lot of what Steph did as a playmaker out of pick and roll and then just making life so much easier for everyone around him. I do think I give him the slight edge. But I could still go either way because SGA still was a strong defender and Steph in 15, I think, was bad. So, like, I do think it could go either way, but I'm going to just favor Steph slightly.
Sure.
16 Steph clears. I've got SGA over 17 Russ. I've got SGA over 18 Harden. I've got SGA over 19 Giannis. I've got 20 Giannis over SGA. I've got 21 Jokic slightly over SGA, but that can go either way. 22 Jokic over SGA. 23 Embiid over SGA. And 24 Jokic over SGA.
Now I want you to rewind, Mars. If we go back to 19,
25 Jokic too, right?
Well,
he wasn't the MVP, so
yeah, but you had.
But I would have 25 Jokic over SGA as well.
That's what I was about to say, Mars. So
damn, Mars.
So would you have 19 James Harden if he would have won the league MVP over?
I'd have 19 Harden over SGA. But this was just MVPs. So of the MVPs, I think I had Shea around 18 out of 26, which like it seems low, but like at the end of the day, like someone has to be 18 out of 26. Like these are MVP seasons for a reason. I can understand having SGA over Nash both years. I can understand that. But I think if I go with SGA over Nash, then like there's just as many people who would say I'm wrong for having SGA slightly over Kobe in 08. So like he would still end up in 18th. Like it wouldn't make much of a difference.
With SGA, if Shaq would have won in 05, is SGA better than him?
Yes, SGA is better than 05 Shaq in the regular season. Yeah.
Awesome.
That 05 season is just meh. But like there's a bunch of non-MVP seasons that I would have over SGA. I think 03 KG would be over SGA. He just didn't win the MVP that year.
Sure.
So like and 2014 LeBron would be over SGA. He just didn't win the MVP that year. So there's still non-MVPs that would also take over SGA. But like of the MVPs, I think I'd end up with him around 17 to 20 in that range, which is still great.
Which leads me to my next question, Ron, because you and me had a conversation about this a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about SGA if we dropped him in 2004, and you told me that he's probably the best lead guard in the game when you're talking about Billups and Kidd, Allen Iverson, all of those guys. Ron, so I want to rewind the clock 10 years. It's the 14-15 season. And I want to drop SGA right in the middle of that 14-15 season. Where does he rank amongst the pantheon of guards? So I got Irv, I got Curry, I got Damian Lillard, I got James Harden, I got Russell Westbrook. I feel like I'm leaving somebody out.
He's maybe the third best guard in the league, third or fourth, depends on how you feel about James Harden.
I gave James Harden I gave 15 James Harden the edge by a hair.
Hold up, 14, 15?
The 14. I only went back 10 years, Ron. I'm dropping him 14, in the middle.
I'd probably have him third, but
I'm dropping him. I only got Curry and Harden ahead of him. Now
I got Steph and Chris Paul, but
I was thinking that Chris Paul. That's the guy who I forgot about. That's the guy who
James maybe fourth because James Harden was cold. I don't know, but James Harden was terrible defensively in 2015.
And that's what I'm thinking about that. But I'm thinking about James Harden in 15. I'm thinking about his offensive impact. I'm thinking about SGA's offensive impact 100%, but I'm thinking about James Harden, not only his offensive impact as a bucket getter, but as a distributor also, right? How much traffic he played in, and not only how much traffic he played in, how he took care of the ball and got guys the basketball necessary in order for them to be put in a position to score. I think that when we're talking about being a playmaker, I feel like that separates him from SGA. Now, when I think about the scoring, I think James Harden was a better one-on-one player than at that point than SGA. I don't think he clears him, but I do think he was a better one-on-one player.
You don't think he clear him? You don't think he's clear him?
2015, I don't think. I don't think he. I don't even know if I think he's better.
I don't think he. I do think he's a better one-on-one player. I think he's better at the long ball line. I do think that he's better at getting to the. I do think he's better at getting to the rim. I think he's better at finishing at the rim at that point in his career. James Harden was a lot better. I feel like with the weekend, the defensive side of the ball is where I'm having a difficult time because James Harden was just Jalen Brunson on defense.
In 2015, he was a little bit better in 2015 than
I think he was worse in 2015, to be honest.
Damn.
2015, like Kevin McHale, James Harden on defense.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's him.
I'm thinking about when they started putting James Harden in that post when they started guarding the
that was more like 2017. 2015, yeah. James Harden.
But to your point, Jordan, in 15, don't forget that we had a transition too with the big man. The big man was going away, and it wasn't like James Harden was in the post a lot, but the times that he was in the post, he was in the post switched on to other guys. So again, Ron, I'm dropping SGA. It's 2014, 2015, and we're in the NBA Finals. I just dropped SGA in 2014, 2015. Where does he rank in your estimation amongst the pantheon of guards at that time?
I mean, y'all know me, but I'm gonna give you my top 5. But y'all know me.
Yes, sir.
I got Steph number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I got Westbrook 2.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Then chill. Westbrook led the league in scoring that year.
In 15?
He did.
Yes.
He did.
And SGA was so much better than him as a bucket getter this year as a scorer. It's not even close, Ron.
It ain't close. Like,
no,
it's very close. No, because you know what that is? That's that Shaq Jokic argument. Like, just because he could do it so many different ways, just because you can't stop this shit, don't mean that I got to do everything else. It is very close.
But they can't stop what Shea does.
Right, but
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not taking that away from SGA. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying.
I don't get how it's close. I don't understand how it's close
to say that it's not. Okay, but this is just my take. I just want to just get it out there, make sure it's on record, because I have been called a Russ hater before. I want to be very clear.
You are though.
Okay. Maybe you're just a Russ playmaking here. I don't know. You seem to be high scoring.
But I just feel like it's kind of unfair when we put guys just because they got a variety of ways to score. That just means that he just clears him as a scorer. And that's why I use the Shaq and Jokic example, because I've had so many conversations where it's like, well, Jokic can shoot mid ranges, Jokic could do this, Jokic could do that, and the only thing Shaq could do is turn and dunk First of all, that's not the only thing Shaq could do. But second of all, if you just because I score in one way and you score in 3 ways doesn't make you a better scorer than me. I think it's very close. Now, I'm fine with you saying SGA is a better scorer. I just don't like that it's not close or he clears type of thing. That's
I agree with the premise of like I think Shaq's a better scorer than Jokic, for example. I just don't think this applies to the Russ and Shea situation.
That's fair. Okay.
But I do agree with the premise of I do agree with the premise
also,
that versatility doesn't make you a better scorer. I agree with that. I just think Shea is just better regardless. So
when I think about, I wasn't even thinking about versatility, Ox, when I thought about Russ in SGA. I was just thinking about just getting downhill and getting to the rim. When I think about layup packages, what Russ has, what SGA has, I feel like SGA is better. I feel like when SGA
SGA better at the rim in the paint and everything too.
I got SGA more in control, and that's why I feel like he's better. Russ's mid-range game, I don't think that I think that's separate. I don't think that those two, both him and SGA, I think SGA creates way more space. I think he's way more fluent in the mid-range than Russ was at that time. I'll give Russ
I don't know, man. Russ in 2015, that mid-range shit was a fucking cheat code. That motherfucker run full speed at you, get you backing up. Damn near he run full speed at you, get you backing up, and shoot that shit off the glass. Boy, you be like, what the hell? And then he just keep doing that shit was damn near cheat code in 2015. Shit. I don't know.
No,
I think you underestimate that Russ.
Like,
it wasn't smooth.
It was a nice counter to teams practically like trying to take away the rim. It was a nice counter. He wasn't Shea. Like
man, shit.
But he didn't. But he also didn't need to be Shea because he was that.
That's
explosive.
what I'm saying.
Like,
he was.
So, like, I want to make that clear. He didn't need to be Shea from the mid range
because
he was so explosive downhill that he just needed the counter. He needed that cushion, which unfortunately he no longer has. But like back then he had it and it was cool. But he wasn't Shea in the mid range. Like he wasn't.
Man, the only reason why look Mars, I could be wrong, and maybe I'm just putting words in my. But the only reason why I'll say you would say that is because you looking at how smooth it is for Shea. Shea get to his spots no matter who guarding him, and he just he can make it contested. The problem with the difference between Russ, that shit wasn't contested because they couldn't stay in front of his ass. Like he was getting that much steam rolling.
I can say the same thing, Jordan, about.
Then I would argue if his mid range is being this uncontested, which I agree with, why he be missing him so much?
Right. I mean,
he was making him now, but I'm saying back then.
But the space that SGA creates.
I said, why does he be missing him so much? I never said why does he never make him.
When you say so much, it leads me to believe he shoots 20% from mid range.
Yeah,
maybe double.
He wasn't SGA.
I don't know what he shot, but like
35%.
SGA's like 50% from mid range. He makes like half.
SGA's mid range is his bread and butter though too.
Exactly, that's my point. That's all I'm saying. That SGA clears. That's what I'm saying. SGA.
Who else you had, Ron? You had Curry. You had Russ.
So I got Curry, Russ, and I would probably say SGA. I don't think Harden in 15 was better than SGA. So I'm gonna go with SGA. I think maybe when you get into 17, 18, 19, then we can start talking about Harden. I think Harden he had one more. After 15, he kicked into another gear. After 16, too. I think, after that, he got into, a whole different bag. Kind of like once he got Chris Paul and stuff. But he was still good in 15. That's no knock to him. But
he was second in MVP.
I was about to say second in
MVP.
league MVP votes that year. Yes, second in league MVP votes that year. He was a top 5 player.
Yeah, but I would go Steph, Russ, SGA, James, and then
what's the separation between him and Chris Paul?
Chris Paul being disrespected here, but it's cool.
What's the separation between him and Chris Paul in 2015? This is clip of Chris Paul. This is Lob City Chris Paul, by the way. This is that Chris Paul. What's the separation between him and SGA?
See, if I get to talk between
you're a Chris Paul hater. You're a Chris Paul hater. Though,
between SGA and Chris Paul?
Yes.
The separation is the scoring by a gazillion miles.
I'm not gonna say what I wanted to say. So I mean, okay.
But see, like I feel the same way about Chris Paul, kind of how I feel about Steve Nash. So like we don't have to rehash this.
Yeah, we're not gonna get
into
it's cool.
Chris Paul was good. I just I think these other guards provide a little something more just in the scoring department.
Where's the separation between him and Damian Lillard at this point? Damian Lillard.
Dame. Oh, well, Chris Paul got Dame.
I ain't talking about moment in time. I'm talking about SGA. We talking about SGA. We talking about
SGA. Dame?
Yeah. What's the separation between him and SGA?
Defense. I'm a bigger guard. My scoring variety isn't so much predicated on jumpers. More so long range jumpers, and I get to the rack like whenever, and I know Dame got to the rack too, but he don't get
not
to
like
it
not
like
like
SGA.
SGA. No.
And he don't have
this is year 3 as Damian Lillard, by the way. This isn't year 5 or year 6. This is year 3 Dame.
And Dame was nice at this moment in time, but
Yep.
even like over the course of his career, I don't think Dame really had a go-to like where we know it's just money. Like he got a step back, he got his, he'll hit you with that shimmy and pull up on you. He got a 1-2 pull up, but he don't got a go-to like SGA do. Like I'm getting to this spot, and y'all know what it is when I get here. We might as well just all get back on defense.
He did have that 2 dribble pull up to the left in the mid.
Yeah,
in the
he
mid-range.
got that.
He did have that, and he was actually good at it. He didn't have the long ball off the dribble yet at that point. However,
he did
in year 3, nah,
yeah,
he didn't have it like he had it in year 5 or year 6.
But
the pull up long ball, he didn't have it like he had it in year 5.
He didn't have the range on it, but
No.
he was shooting the pull up.
Oh, he was shooting.
He was coming off the pick and roll, still sparking that.
You can have something, right? You can have something and not have it down, right? Giannis had the transition game in 2018. He didn't have it like he had it in 21. He ain't have it down like he had it in 21. He wasn't handling the basketball in transition.
I'll give you handling the basketball, but I think he had it.
He was running.
He's a better ball handler though.
We call him run and dunk. Now I think that's part of it though, Jordan. Right? We called him run and dunk man. I mean, he was much more efficient. He was much smoother in transition in 21 than he was in 18. Way smoother. So, my question to you, Ron, is what's the separation between him and Irv? Now, this is where it gets tricky.
So
I don't even think they're in the same stratosphere. SJ clears up. I'm sorry.
At the fifth spot, so I was contemplating a few names. One was Chris Paul, one was Kyrie Irving, and another one, maybe an unpopular name, I was considering Klay Thompson as well. But I know, are we talking about guards or just league guards?
League guards.
Well, no,
James Harden played the 2.
Yeah,
but
so
he was a combo guard.
I'm heavily considering Klay Thompson. Now, I mean, obviously, like with the ball in his hands, like he doesn't really hold a candle to none of these other guys.
You considering Klay Thompson better than SGA?
No, I'm just so where he asked me who's the top 5 guards at that fifth spot. I was considering, and I'm going with Chris Paul, but I was considering Kyrie and I was considering Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson of that group, probably the best defender. Actually, Klay Thompson of that group is the best defender.
Wait, sorry. I wasn't listening. My fault.
Yeah, why wouldn't he be?
My bad. Carry on.
Hold on, who do you think I was saying was the best defender?
I thought of the guards you've already said. I thought like Chris Paul, Shea. I thought you were saying he was the best of those groups because Chris Paul's better than Klay on defense. I didn't know you. So.
See,
okay,
at that moment in 15.
Are you were talking about Dame and Kyrie and them? Right?
No, I'm talking about of all. Klay Thompson was a trap in 2015.
Chris was better on defense than Klay.
In 2015,
he got first team on defense.
That's damn near the best Chris Paul was on defense.
In 2015,
yeah, it's like 2014 to 16 is damn near Chris Paul's best defense.
Mars over. In the late 2000s, late
2000s when Chris Paul was at like peak athleticism and he was getting to the rim like crazy, and that might be where he was at his best offensively. Maybe I don't even know if I agree with that, but defensively, yes, Clippers Chris Paul is the best he was defensively. I don't even think it's that close. The cerebralness, I don't know if that's a word. The ability to understand offenses, make rotations on time. Like he was still small, but he was so quick and proactive in his defensive rotations that he was still making plays on the ball. His defense on the ball on the perimeter was great. His pick and roll coverage, him and DeAndre Jordan, that drop coverage was impenetrable because Chris Paul was elite fighting through screens.
Hey, don't let Ox tell it.
Like I'm sorry, Chris Paul was like the best point guard defender in the league. Like. That's
including
how
Rondo, including
that's how good he was. Like I don't know, maybe people need to go back and watch 2015 Chris Paul. They don't view it as his peak. I don't know, but that period of Chris Paul, monster. He was a monster.
Chris Paul, he was great on defense. He was phenomenal.
Ron, what was the when you talk about Klay Thompson? I can appreciate the screen navigation because again, we were living in a league for shooters at that point, right? The game was getting expanded.
Yeah,
guys were shooting the basketball a lot, so guys were coming off a lot of pin downs, a lot of fades. Stuff like that, and you had to get around screens more so today, but guys were doing that a lot, and I feel like Klay Thompson was really good at that. I also feel like Klay Thompson was a damn good one-on-one defender. I think he was
Klay
awesome
Thompson
on the ball.
Took every fade. Obviously, you know Steph was in the backcourt, so Steph couldn't guard these other point guards.
Yes.
Harrison Barnes, he was a solid defender at that moment in time. He wasn't guarding the best threes. It was Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson. Look, when they played against James Harden, Klay Thompson. When they played against Chris Paul, Klay Thompson. When they played against Westbrook,
was Klay a better defender at that point than buckets? Was Klay a better defender than buckets?
No.
I think we already had this conversation, right?
No, Ron, he wasn't. No, he was not. Ron, don't do that. No. This is a real simple answer.
I don't think it's that simple.
Right to the
I also think something that's being forgotten is that 2016 was really the year where Klay started taking all fades. 2015, and this is why another reason why I'm asking. 2015, for whatever reason, Steph was still guarding his position. Now, I'm not saying that was a good thing, but in 2015, Steph was guarding point guards. Klay was guarding two guards.
Take your matchup.
Klay was guarding his matchup. Klay was guarding, like, this is more typical coverage. Klay was guarding two guards. Steph was guarding point guards. So when Klay came up against James Harden, he would guard James Harden. But when Steph was coming up against point guards, Steph was guarding point guards.
He was dealing
now, that's another reason why I think Steph was really bad on defense in 2015. And then they made the adjustment in 2016 where Klay was taking the best perimeter guy, the best guard, whether it's a point guard or two guard, Klay was guarding him. But in 2015, that wasn't the case. So that's another reason why I think Chris Paul was comfortably a better defender. But anyway, we can carry on. I just want to make sure if anyone who doesn't remember that they weren't doing this switching thing where they would just have Klay guard the best matchup regardless. But anyway, you can carry on.
Yeah, but I would say I got Chris Paul rounding out that 5. Yep. And that'll really be that. I got Steph, Russ, SGA, James, Chris Paul. If SGA played at that time.
I had him at third behind James Harden instead of Russ.
What you got, Jordan?
You guys really think he's better than Chris Paul?
Yes.
What? It's a hair, Mars. And here's why. As good as Chris Paul was on defense, because to your point, you talk about Chris Paul being arguably the best defensive guard in the game.
Point guard, defensive point guard.
Defensive point guard. Let me rephrase that. Not defensive guard, defensive point guard, right? I could flip that around and say that SGA today is arguably the best scoring point guard in the game.
Absolutely.
On top of him being the best scoring point guard in the game, he was awesome on defense. And I think
awesome is a stretch, but okay.
And I think that there's
it's
separation.
Hard for me to say SGA is a point guard though, but I get it. I know he plays point guard.
Combo. He's a combo.
Yeah, he's more of a 2 guard to me than he is a point guard.
I've always felt like he was, but
he was a 2 guard, particularly when Josh Giddey was actually like getting touches. But then the last 2 or 3 years, he's been that point guard.
No, but this is the style of play that they have to where I feel like the Thunder are running it without a point guard, to be honest with you. But SGA has the ball in his hand, so he make the plays. But
he's not. He's not a typical point guard. He's not a traditional point guard.
To me, that's why it's hard for me to say he's a point guard. I said the same thing about Steph too, though.
Yeah,
I also say the same shit.
That's why I just combo guard. Just group them in combo
so
guard.
I guess I'm putting them in the same category with Iverson and Jerry West and James Harden.
Yeah, you got to put him in a conversation.
He's in that group. For me, I just like your listed position is just what I'll call you. But in terms of like, I think combo guard and stuff is an archetype. That's a style of play. Combo guard, James Harden's a combo guard, AI was a combo guard, Steph's a combo guard.
I think even Russ is a combo guard.
But I don't want to get off the point.
But they're listed as point
combo guard too.
Yeah. But I don't want to deviate from the point, Mars, because like you talked about. So I do think that at the lead guard spot, which is what he's listed at, I do think that he's arguably the best scorer in the game. And I feel like on defense, as good as Chris Paul is on defense, I feel like that's how good SGA is as a scorer. But on the other side of the basketball, Chris Paul as a bucket getter, I think SGA is a better defender. And I think that's where the separator is. And I think
Chris Paul, Shea's a better defender than Chris Paul is a scorer?
I to be honest with you, when I think about as good as Chris Paul is in the mid-range, and Chris Paul was fantastic in the mid-range. I'm not going to argue that point. I think Chris Paul was great in the mid-range. I think Chris Paul was great at getting his offense going and getting shots going. When I think about SGA, I think about him being on this defense. I think it gets hidden how good he really is. I think it gets hampered because he's on a team with so many great defenders that we don't really get to see how good of a defender he is. Even though he's on a team.
I think you don't get to see his flaws because of how good his defense is.
I see that's where you and I differ, because I feel like if he was on a team, we would get to see his flaws, but we would get to see him be a better defender because, one, he would have to take more matchups.
And I think he'd look worse.
I don't see. That's what I don't think so, Mars, because I feel like I don't think that you're giving him enough credit I don't think you're giving him enough credit as a defender. The athleticism is there. He's not Russell Westbrook athletic.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue that point. No, but the athleticism is there. The know-how is there. The ability to stop plays, the ability to use the right hand, the ability to get to the right spot, beat guys to spots, bump guys off spots, stop guys in transition. I think all of that stuff is there. I just feel like him being in Oklahoma City, because they have the number of guys that they have, I don't think you get to see that as much. It's almost like a guy being a bucket getter, and he's on a team with a bunch of bucket getters, so you don't really get to see how much of a bucket getter he really is.
Okay, well, we obviously are quite far apart on our evaluation of Shai's defense. I think Shai's a good defender. Before any Shai stands come out and be like, "Oh my God, Shai's a good defender," I agree.
Sure.
I think Shai's best on defense is when he's away from the ball. I think he makes good plays at the rim. I think he has really good hands, targeting the ball, getting steals, forcing turnovers. I don't really like his on-ball defense. I think he's capable. Not a huge fan of his screen navigation. I think he gets caught ball watching a bit too much as well. But I think in a position where he's asked to take on a larger defensive load, I think he looks worse than he does in the current OKC situation. Mm-hmm. But I still do think he's a strong positive on defense. I think he doesn't make his defense worse. And as a point guard, that's kind of like the most you could really ask for. Someone who's not hurting your defense. Shai makes their defense slightly better with his abilities to make plays at the rim. I agree. I totally am on board with all of that. Now, the idea that Shai's a better defender than Chris Paul is a scorer, absolutely disagree. I'm not going to come close to agreeing with that. And I think what's being neglected is the fact that Chris Paul was the best playmaker in the league. Chris Paul was the best, he was damn near the best passer in the league.
Hey, Mark,
that's what
I was
Chris
saying.
Paul was. That's just been ignored the whole time. We spoke about Shai scoring and Chris Paul scoring, and we spoke about their defense and all of that. We've ignored the fact that Chris Paul was the best pick and roll operator in the NBA. We've ignored the fact that the Clippers offense fell apart when Chris Paul wasn't on the floor.
Sure.
Absolutely just went to pieces. We're ignoring what Chris Paul's best attribute was to make this more of a conversation.
He might have been the best mid-range scorer in the NBA.
We haven't even brought up. His mid-range game was elite. That's why I don't agree with the scoring stuff. He didn't average 25 or whatever. He averaged 18, 19. But Chris Paul could score whenever he wanted.
But see, Mark, that's
whenever he wanted. He's going to come off that pick and roll. He's going to snake the pick and roll. And, he's going to get that ball in that shot pocket at the elbow. And he's going to make it every time.
First of all, he had one. He had a sidestep tray ball. He had everything. But
he was shooting 40% from three that year, I think.
But Mark,
he shot 39.
This is why when I said
40.
But this is why I said the other day when we was on here and I talked about SGA. When people talk about SGA and Kobe, when I said SGA plays more like Chris Paul. I think people just underestimate Chris Paul's scoring ability just based off of because he passed a lot. But if you simulated Chris Paul into making him take how many shots Shai take a game?
I think
18
something.
I'd assume Shai to 21, 20.
I thought it was 19.
But
if you simulate Chris Paul taking 21 shots a game,
22, he takes 22 shots.
Okay, 22 shots a game. I'm telling you, you would see more simulate. It's just because we see Chris Paul as this dynamic playmaker, which he is. But to Mars's point, y'all, we undervaluing his scoring. The dude could score.
But Jordan,
he was probably the best mid-range shooter in the NBA.
I get that. I get that he could, and he was Chris Paul did have a bag. I'm not Chris Paul wasn't whack at scoring. He wasn't
Chris
Paul was a good scorer. Definitely had an elite handle. He was still quick at that moment in time. Had burst, could get to whatever spot he wanted to. It was crafty as hell. My only problem with that is I can't call you an elite scorer if you don't score elite. You can score in elite ways, but if you don't give me the quantity that an elite score gives me, I can't put you in that category. And that's the same problem with Steve Nash. When I can't call you Swiper came up here and capped and said Steve Nash led all those scoring runs with the Phoenix Suns. First off, no, he didn't. Swiper lied to you guys. No, he didn't. Steve Nash was third, sometimes even fourth. He had a couple runs where he was second. And he had one run, the run without Amari Stoudemire, where him and Sean Marion they both averaged 20
points. I think points per game, Amari notwithstanding, because I think if someone says Amari is the best scorer on the team, I ain't gonna argue. Now, I'm sorry, if you tell me with a straight face you think Sean Marion's a better scorer than Steve Nash. No. I'm sorry, I don't care that he averaged more points. I don't care. But Amari is cool. But Sean Marion, I'm sorry, when that much of your offense is created for you, as opposed to what Steve Nash is doing, I'm sorry, there might be 2-3 points per game difference.
Was Blake Griffin a whack scorer then? No,
Nah, Blake Griffin was a
Blake
hell of a
Griffin was
scorer,
not a
bro.
whack scorer, but if you ask me, Chris Paul was the best scorer on that team. If you ask me, Chris Paul was the best scorer on that team, and I think it comes down to responsibility. And I think Chris Paul is probably a better scorer than Steve Nash. So I want to make that clear as well.
I think he's the best scorer, Steve Nash.
Like, and I'm high on Steve Nash scoring because of the ability to create. He's got that. His jumper was automatic as well. But Chris Paul upped the volume from what Steve Nash was doing, and his handle and his ability to get to the mid range, like. That was so much of the Clippers' offense. Like he may not
more athletic.
I don't know how many points Blake averaged. I know Chris Paul averaged like 20. I don't know what Blake averaged.
Blake averaged more than him. Blake averaged more than him. I think
Blake did average more. Maybe Blake did average more.
19.
But I'm sorry, like watching that 2015 Clippers team, I think it's very clear that Chris Paul's the best scorer on that team. If they need a bucket, it's Chris Paul. If they're needing someone to self-create, it's Chris Paul. Now, being able to score off the ball, be a play finisher, that's valuable. But like, for example, Anthony Davis in 2020 averaged more than LeBron. Now I understand it's a different scale. Like LeBron was still averaging 25.
Yeah.
But we all understand that LeBron was clearly a better scorer.
Yeah.
Clear. Yeah. Now I understand once again, it's a different standard. Like we're talking about 25-point per game scorers
for both guys.
We understand that. We understand.
No, I got you.
But the point
on all three examples.
The point still remains is that I think Chris Paul's the burden he has to take as a self-creator trumps the minor volume gap that Blake Griffin may have, to where I still think he was a really good scorer who could scale up the volume when needed. It's like he's going to be a pass first guy. And I'm not going to punish his scoring ability.
But hold on, Ron, because yesterday, Ron, because yesterday I'm gonna be real with you, and I saw the clip. I didn't get to see the episode, but I saw certain clips. But I was agreeing with you on the Steve Nash thing. You know, I've been saying what I've been saying about Steve Nash. But I do want to say that sometimes when somebody will say something, we use like certain phrases to nitpick on what a person is actually saying. Like, and that's what I think we were doing yesterday with Ron was talking about Steve Nash. Like we nitpicking like, oh, are you high on Steve Nash? And it's like, no, we can still be high on him, but I can still make a fair assessment. Like, for example,
I don't think he made a fair assessment, but
okay, that's whatever. But I'm agreeing with him. I agree with Ron for the most part on Steve Nash. But what I will say about Chris Paul being that type of scorer and Ron saying you have to score the amount of points, I agree and disagree to an extent. I agree that the mentality of a scorer that helps you, that puts you in the category of one of the best scorers. You have to have the scoring mentality. Chris Paul necessarily doesn't have that scoring mentality. His thing is playmaking mentality. His thing is point guard mentality. So I agree with Ron on that time frame. But this is where I disagree at, because I feel like if you made Chris Paul and say, Chris, fuck the damn playmaking.
Go get me a bucket. Go get me a bucket.
You would look at
reprogrammed him to be a scorer.
Yeah, oh my God, that's exactly what I'm saying. You are talking
Jordan,
about a 28 a night a game guy. Serious.
I don't know if I'm doing that, but I think that's
I see where you're coming from,
Jordan. 28. I'm just like, that's a lot.
28.
Chris Paul played in the league for 20 years, and the most he averaged was 22.
Yeah,
he averaged 20 twice.
Yeah,
but I'm saying like,
is mine. But this is also my problem with Chris Paul with scoring, which I don't want to subtract from the fact that he is the ultimate playmaker.
Sure,
like that is who he is.
Sure,
but my only problem with this, and it's kind of to a fault too, because Chris Paul didn't really get. I think Chris Paul, out of all these superstar point guards and people that didn't get over the hump to get a ring, I think Chris Paul got dealt the worst hand in terms of who I was playing with.
He also got hurt. He also got hurt too. That
part right there.
Even then, though, like we could just talk about Nash, for instance, or even Charles Barkley. I think those two teams that they had, where Nash, like the run that Nash had with Amari Stoudemire, where he went to the conference finals, even though it was a couple times. Charles Barkley when he went to the finals.
I ain't cutting Steve Nash no slack, Ron.
I'm not at all. What I'm saying is both of them had better teams than Chris Paul ever had.
I would agree. I
know you guys like that Houston team. I think that those two teams, that Charles Barkley and Steve Nash had, and we can use a bunch of other examples of guys that never won rings. But I'm saying I believe that those two had better teams than Chris Paul ever had.
So I would probably disagree with you on that Rockets team, that 2018 team. But as far as the other ones, like the Clippers, the Hornets, too. They went to the finals too, but
he did have a finals run, huh?
Yeah, he did.
but
I don't think.
What about the next year? They won 65 games.
Chris Paul's had some good. Me personally, I think the 18 Rockets is the best team Chris Paul's ever been on.
Yes,
and I think the 18
Is that
Rockets
better
are
than the
better
best?
than Charles Barkley's Suns.
But
Okay, do you think that's better
than
Steve Nash's Suns?
The 07 Suns.
No, I don't think
That
so.
07
Yeah.
Suns team, nigga.
Bro, that 07 Suns team.
They're like two of the best non-championship teams I think ever.
Yeah.
If we could simulate that series, my God.
If I'm
That
being
would be
honest
a
with you,
hell of a
Ron,
series.
if I'm being honest with you, Ron, if Amari Stoudemire doesn't get kicked out of that game and gets suspended, I think the Suns are going to the finals, and I think they smoked the Cavs in the NBA Finals in 07.
But hold on, chill.
If Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, I think the Rockets are going to the finals and they smoke.
But hold on, chill. A part of that Suns downfall when they was losing to the Lakers and shit like that. I'm gonna be real. I went back and watched those games back in like
2010.
Yeah, I went back and watched. Went back and watched a lot of.
That was the only time they beat the Suns. That was the only time they beat the Suns.
But hold on, but I'm talking about just Steve Nash just taking that lead. This is why I don't cut him a lot of slack because, bro, I watched with my own eyes lay down the stretch. Steve Nash shit the bed.
That was a bad series for Steve Nash down the stretch.
I watched him shit the bed, and everybody want to talk about this engine and shit. This is when I changed my mind about the stuff, and I might have been. And I might need
too many times where he can close.
You're right.
The 2010, because what they did was they started switching a lot.
Yes,
they started switching a lot, and I'm with you. Steve Nash struggled down the stretch of those games, and I'm with you. I agree with you. But I've seen so many times him close series and close games.
In 06. I don't know if I'm. About an 06.
Hold on. Look,
I do feel like that was a bad
because this is the first time that I clarified my comments. This is the first time I clarified my comments, and I purposely just didn't do it because I like the conversation. But when I was talking about Rondo and Steve Nash, I wasn't talking about 06, 07, 08. I was specifically talking about 2010, around that time when Rondo was his and Steve Nash. That's what I was talking about. And I made that assessment based off of what I saw Rondo do when they switched it and based off of what I saw Steve Nash do. That's where I got the whole conversation from. And everybody was,
so you're saying 2010 Rondo over 2010 Steve Nash?
Me personally, give me Rajon.
I still obviously disagree, but that's a lot less egregious than you just saying Rondo's better than Steve Nash.
Yeah, that's cool, but that's where I made that assessment from 2010 on because I saw, bro, I watched a lot of games, bro. This was during COVID when I was just watching shit ton of old school hoops, and I'm like, bro, look at the fourth quarter. Not only was it the last couple of minutes, you are talking about the quarter, bro. Like it was like, bro, the Suns could win this game. Shit the bed every time, and that's what to me I was like, bro. And then you know what was crazy? My YouTube is messy. The next game would be the Celtics versus the Lakers, and I'm like, hey, my eyes don't tell me no lies. My eyes don't tell me no lies.
The 2010 Lakers series was like a rough Steve Nash experience in terms of closing games. But like I said, like 05, I've seen him close games where he's able to score in isolation. Right.
I'm cool.
06, I've seen it. Like 07, even I've seen it without Amari, what he was trying to do against that Spurs defense. Like I've seen it enough to where it's like, I'm not gonna say you give them grace. Like Steve Nash deserves to be criticized for that 2010 Lakers series. Like I said, with any great player, when you play badly, you should be criticized for it. Steve Nash should be criticized for the way he closed those games. But I don't think that's an indictment on him as a player. For everything he's shown to that point.
No, I don't. But that's why I said I just cleared it up because I never have, and I just let the conversation go. But even if you look at the video that I made, it's from 2010. Like it's about the 2010 that time with Steve Nash. Like, and then I just went into some bullshit because I was just defending my takes about Steve Nash, and y'all want to say the engine that drives, the little engine that could, and I'm like, all right, y'all full of shit. But
and I don't because Mars, you made some really good points about Chris Paul at that point, but I also want to make a point about how good SGA was, to your point, off the ball. Even though he gets caught ball watching, but he was also really good off the ball too.
Absolutely.
Creating a lot of steals and being one of the better playmakers on defense, which generated a lot of their offense, right? So when I think about a guy who's in the passing lane, creating steals, getting to the rim, getting and ones, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think SGA is one of the best players in the league in getting and ones. Well, when I'm creating steals, and I'm getting and ones, that's beating up. That's one, that's playmaking. Two, that's causing a lot of trouble for your guards who are getting back. Now that's putting them in a bind where you got to get your second unit guys back out here. And now that's causing even more turnovers for you guys. I think SGA has over 10 games this season where he's got over 3 steals. He's got some 4 steal games. So I think he was a huge disruptor off the basketball. And the fact that SGA and I feel like we're going, I don't want to go in a circle here, but I feel like the fact that SGA was on a team that was so awesome defensively, you're going to find flaws in my game 100% if I'm on a different team, but you're also going to hide my strengths as well. And those strengths, which is me being on the basketball, me being as good off the basketball, me being a rebounding guard, right? Me being in place to beat guys to spots, me being one of the better closeout defenders in the game. I feel like that kind of stuff, if he was off the floor, if he was on a worse defensive team, I think you'd be able to see that more from SGA. That's why I said when I think about Chris Paul as a bucket getter, when I think about Chris Paul as a bucket getter, and I think about SGA, I feel like we're splitting hairs, but I give the edge to SGA.
Sure, I think if SGA was on another team, he'll be exposed on defense.
Exposed in what way, Ox?
That's fair.
Because when I think about a guy, it sounds to me like SGA on this team, he's protected more than he's a good defender.
Both. I'm not. It's both. It's both. It's both.
His flaws are hidden.
When I say that, that's not. So a lot of times I say things and people think I'm trying to knock the player.
Right.
I'm just keeping it real about how basketball really is. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's gonna get exposed sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So I just think he'll get exposed more, which is kind of just like duh, it's like a duh thing, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he would definitely get exposed more if he wasn't playing off ball and Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, and Casey Wallace weren't making those hard passes. I know for a fact that when you have somebody making passes harder, you throw a worse pass, which makes it easier for somebody playing passing lanes to get steals. You know what I'm saying? I also know that if I'm guarding somebody and let's say Ron's to the left of me, if I'm leading him that way, I know Ron gonna dig and make him go back. And so no, I didn't necessarily make him turn, but we made him turn. You know what I'm saying? We made him go back and kept the ball on this side of the court. But if I'm by myself, he might get around that corner and I look like I got exposed, but I'm still playing defense. I'm playing the same level of defense I would play if my man was right here or not. But since he was there to help Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Casey Wallace, Chet Holmgren, he's gonna go back the other way. So that's why I say that. I think SGA is a really good defender, but I think this team makes him look up here when he's closer to average.
So can I counter that, Ox, with Chris Paul as a bucket getter? So if he's not on the team throwing lobs to Blake Griffin and throwing lobs to DeAndre Jordan, where he had to score more, I think the shot quality might be a little bit different because he might have guys hanging on him more. So the efficiency is going to change because now I got to take tougher shots, right? So in addition to me taking tougher shots, I'm putting my team in a different space as opposed to when I got JJ Redick on the wing and I can knock and I can get him the basketball where he can knock down shots. Or if I got Jamal Crawford that I can go to when we're down, where we're not making shots, I can go to him, or I can go to Blake Griffin on the block. His shot diet will look a lot different. His shot quality will look a lot different. And on top of his shot quality looking a lot different, that efficiency might look a lot different from him. So I think that goes both ways.
Sure. I not only can you make that argument, but I'm going to jump over there and agree with you because I said that about Chris Paul a bunch of times. Sure. Not so much the Jamal Crawford thing. I love Jamal, but not so much the Jamal Crawford thing. I'm more so talking about the fact that Blake and DeAndre used to bail his ass out. I'm in a tough situation. Just throw the ball up, Mars.
Okay. But at the same time, that's.
But I think
Ron, you muted Ron, but I'm just telling you for sure, like, and I've played with many high flyers. Yep. Never played with the Blake. You know what I'm saying? But I played with many high flyers. I've also been a guy that I tell you. I think we okay.
We don't Mars.
And two things can be true, Mars.
David West wasn't a high five.
No, he was not.
David West was bailing his ass out too. David West was getting money on that block.
Chris Paul in the pick and roll with anyone equals elite offense, whether they're a high flyer or not. Like, I think we've seen that. DeAndre Ayton is a bum. I'm sorry, and I watched Chris Paul make DeAndre Ayton good.
Mars, two things can be Mark, can we agree that those things aren't mutually exclusive? Like, yes.
Yeah, I
we've
think
seen
Blake
Chris Paul.
Griffin and DeAndre made life easier for Chris Paul. I disagree with the bailed
That's all
him
I'm
out.
saying.
That's,
Okay. So
that's what I disagree with. Like,
All right,
he's just a merchant of those guys. That's where I
Mars. There's
say
a
that.
thin line. There's a thin line between helped out and bailed out. Thin line.
All right, y'all. We gotta move on to the next comment. Salute to. I'm gonna reread this comment because salute to you because we just talked about that comment.
We still on
over
comments
30
week,
minutes.
that was the one.
Yeah, hey, this
I didn't forget.
Nook No Ball really got us in the mode. He turned the comment to a segment.
Check him out.
I know Nook over there just smiling from ear to ear right now. He think he directed the PC show right now. Boy,
That's why I
executive
love this
director
segment.
Nook No Ball.
Hey, that's why the top 5 is my favorite segments of all time. These are my favorite because it's first of all it's engaging with the chat. You know I love the chat. Shout out to the chat.
Yeah, my boy Nook No Ball, boy, executive produced this show, boy. Personally on you.
Shout out to Nick, somebody. He be in my comments all the time. Man. Shout out to Nick.
Somebody who also executive produces this show with me behind the scenes is a good guy named Dion from Ohio. Episode 569. Dion said the best show on the planet.
Don't fight it.
Shout out the kid from Ohio.
Yeah, we're decent.
Damn, Dion, you outside on that picture with your headphones on? You outside podcasting? That might be a green screen.
Shout out Dion, man.
Hey, shit, you know, y'all better leave Dion alone before you pull up on you.
Speaking of pulling up on everybody,
I see you, Arch. Arch got it done.
Hello, Swiper.
Shout out to Arch, man. Shout out to Arch.
All right,
Nice.
get back to the comments of the week. Get back to the comments of the week. We ain't got
Nice of you to pop in on us. Oh, well, I mean, I hate to have to pause the comments of the week, but you're right, Bob. Arch got it done. Arch said, I wish the best panelist, Swiper, on PC would show up and cook like he always do.
He is.
I didn't take it.
Swiper be cooking.
Yeah, Swiper, you want to give your opinion on the conversation that just transpired?
Yeah. First off, I want to say hello to my black folks, support black colleges, HBU. Shout out to you. Shout out to Atlanta Bread. First off, Jordan, if you had motion like this, you get $100 super chat, but you don't. But what I wait.
You right.
Shout out to my dog.
I ain't got no motion. Hey, Arch, I ain't got no motion. Arch, I have no motion. My email is drenchmansports@gmail.com. I have no motion.
Hey, well, shout out to Drench Motion that really has motion on Playback.
Drenchmansports@gmail.com.
Jordan is the best. He's the best playback. He's the best playback merchant. I love when you talk on Playback. But no, shout out to you, bro. But look, listen, chill. Can I ask you a question?
You just did.
I'll ask you a follow-up question.
Yes, sir.
So when you think about CP3 and his scoring, do you not? This is I think a gathering information question. Can you not make an argument that CP3 amongst the league was arguably one of the best scorers in the league come playoff time from his prime? Let's say from 9 to 15.
I'm going to take it a step further than that, Swiper. If he retired today, I don't know how many point guards I could say are better scoring guards than he was. Like,
sure.
He's got over 20,000 points.
See, Swiper, you come up here and do this shit every fucking time. See what you have in your mind?
Hold on.
Point guards?
Hold on.
Well, I mean,
Ron, we can say point guards, we can say defensive point guards, we can say playmaking.
Ron, you do know that this dude got over 20,000 points, right? You do know that.
Chill. 20,000 points because he played 20,000 years.
Okay, so what? What? And Ron, and what job do I have where it's a bad thing to be awesome for a long goddamn time?
That's not a knock. That's not a knock. But if we're talking about scoring point guards, Swiper came up here and lied about playoff points just like he did yesterday with Steve Nash.
What did I lie about?
You lied about Steve Nash leading the Suns in scoring. He was clear.
When he had the stats pulled up and tried to be
quote unquote, you said he was clear and by far the Suns' best scorer. No, he wasn't.
Who was a better scorer than Steve Nash on that team?
Amari Stoudemire by a wide gap. Shawn Marion he might not have scored better, but he put up more points. Joe Johnson scored better than him in the playoffs. I believe it was a year where Quentin Richardson scored better.
Respect to you. I know how Ron. I know how you view basketball. You and I will never be on the same plane. To get back to Chill's point.
Yes.
To get back to Chill's point.
Ron said he on a private jet.
You said that he's on a private jet.
Even before that, Michael Finley and Dirk Nowitzki
Jordan, he's on a soul
and Nick Van Exel was outscoring him in the playoffs. All I'm saying is, you said that Chris Paul is one of the better playoff scorers at the point guard position. He's not. Now we
Well, when you say better, so let's
distribute. Yes, no,
in the league at that time or all time?
At that
all
time.
time.
We dropping.
Well, how many
SGA.
was he a better playoff
Well, I
scorer
mean,
than
Jerry
Russ?
West is better. Steph is better.
Russ is better.
Russ was not a
Dame
better
is
playoff scorer.
better. Like
Russ has some of the worst playoff series as a shooter that we've ever seen.
he has some of the best playoff series too.
And then, but I think that goes to the floor. But I think you're speaking to
I mean,
overall.
I do think the ability to shoot at volume is relevant. Chris Paul was
I'm
like,
looking at it here.
Russ being able to generate that many shots, whether we like it or not, that's a scoring skill. That's a skill.
That's why I said it's the mentality.
If we're talking about efficiency, like you could say he's one of the most.
I think that has to
scorers.
also factor in. I think that has to factor in.
Oh yeah, but is he a better scorer than Kyrie? Hell no.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. though. It's a
In the playoffs?
In 2014.
Kyrie. Well, to be fair,
Hell no,
Kyrie's also like crazy efficient.
Yes.
Yeah, but
the
conversation originally that was proposed.
It's like Chris Paul's Swiper. Who's a better scorer in your estimation, Chris Paul or Allen Iverson?
Swiper.
Well, I feel like that's.
I swear, I will end this stream.
No, there is no ending. You got to let people answer the question. You're a host, by the way.
I'm gonna let you answer, and then I'm gonna end the stream.
So what I would say is that I don't think that's for me. I don't know if you can compare what Iverson had to do and the weight he had to carry in the situation he was in on a defensively slanted team for Chris Paul. I do think that the efficiency obviously is going to lean Chris Paul, but I think that the Allen Iverson had to do things that Chris didn't have to do every single series, and he was never going to reach. He was never going to be an efficient scorer. And no, but I think that matters. I think if Chris, to your point, because you said something smart. When I'm not on the show, you're great. When I'm on the show, you troll too much. when you said I think if Chris Paul would have changed, if he had a brain surgery prior to his career and was score first before playmaker, I think Chris Paul would have been like a dynamic scorer over the course.
I still don't think he would be a better scorer than Allen Iverson though if he did though. By the way,
right? But I think it just depends. Like though, I think the modern game assisted Chris Paul in ways that Allen Iverson never got a chance to benefit from. So I would say Iverson.
Facts. Okay.
Just in a large part. If he was a pick and roll, if he became a pick and roll guard like in the 2010, I do think he'd be a different player.
I think Allen Iverson pick and roll in the era that Chris Paul played in, you would see a more dangerous Allen Iverson because people underestimate how good of a passer Allen Iverson was, by the way, or how good of a playmaker Allen Iverson is. People underestimate that shit by a long mile. With them motherfuckers was one of them inmates that just got out of jail that he was playing with. All the motherfuckers that was on the Philadelphia 76ers, they just escaped from the penitentiary. That's who he was playing with. That's all I'm saying. So you put put Allen Iverson with Page in one corner, goddamn Wally Zerback, goddamn David West, goddamn Blake Griffin, So I even think, but I'm still standing on my stance. If you rewire Chris Paul's mind, I still don't think he would be a better scorer than Allen Iverson. I think people underestimate how good of a scorer Allen Iverson is, though.
I will say this though.
I don't even understand that's possible, Jordan. How do people try any angle they can? They try to find any way they can to discredit Allen Iverson's score.
And I hate that shit, bro. I can't stand.
They're looking for a reason, and that's okay.
And it's like, bro, you are out of your mind if you think that Allen Iverson could have played differently with the Philadelphia 76ers and they would have got to where they got. You are out of your mind.
AI never benefited.
I don't want to deviate from you were making a point. So
yeah, so I think for you to say, and this is why I think this is a pushback. I think in large, I think you're vastly overrating SGA's defense if you're saying that's on par with Chris Paul scoring. There's no, because for me now, I'm with you, Chill. Because I said this in the chat when SGA got drafted, he was a defensive first guard in some ways. He was a scorer, he could do it, but he was but he was their anchor in terms of their perimeter.
Who you said? Who was
SGA?
Doc was using them
the
with the
18.
Clippers. Yes,
not really.
I remember he had Shea Chase and Steph Curry. Steph Curry.
Yeah, Shea was their primary defender.
Even though he had Pat Beverly and Avery Bradley, he still was using SGA.
Well, that's what Pat
Beverly exactly. But I would tell you the truth from firsthand too. They looked at Shamet as more of a like that type of guy than SGA. I mean, it was just by default because some games. I mean, SGA started.
Well, he played, but when he was out there, he was being used as that he was guard and point guard. That's what he was.
Because he's young, you know, because he's the young boy. They gotta let the young.
But he was also a good defender. So, and basically from 18 to 21, SGA was being molded into this like real two-way stopper type player. But then what happened is once he transitioned into like first team all world SGA, he became a primary offensive player and became much more of an off-ball player. And then that's when you started to fluctuate into what he is now. But respectfully, CP3, I could say, had 6 years, at least 6 years, I would say, at least 6 years of playoff performances where we can say from 2009 to 2015, and I would even dare say now, again, granted, like competition, I would say CP3 was a very good to elite, had elite scoring series from 9 to 15. And then later in CP3's career, chill, from 20 to 22. Those runs that he had versus
remember
the
that
Pelicans.
closeout game against the Pelicans? Yeah, remember that?
Yeah,
that
yeah,
game?
the
He was like
closeout
14 for 14 or something.
Yeah, that's
Closeout
exactly
game
what it
against
was.
the Spurs. First of all, the closeout game against
Well,
the
that was
Spurs,
14. That was 14, 15.
And then his birthday came and he became
Yeah, then he turned 36 and he fell off the cliff.
I don't know
that's
what the hell
happened.
that was, but
chill, 21. Remember 21. I think he averaged that first round. That was his last truly great scoring series other than the Pelican series. I think he averaged like 25 on like 70 true shooting or something like that. He went nuts. Now, again, he was granted who he was playing against at that point. But he reached peaks where he was like one of the best guard scorers like in the sport, bar none. And I'm saying that I don't think SGA has ever reached that kind of ceiling where he's ever been that kind of defender. And I also do think, I told you, Chin, I said this in the playoffs, SGA is benefiting in two ways. One, he's helping them. He's raising their ceiling, but he also doesn't have to do anything defensively. Like literally he can spend all game not having to engage at all because of what's happening around him. Now, he's not a negative chill, but he does have very clear flaws. And I remember I said this to you in the regular season, that dude off ball can be a ball watcher like a madman. He can get beat for backdoors consistently. He can get beat on off-ball threes. Even when they played in the Denver series, Christian Brown was eating off backdoors off of Michael Porter Jr., had wide open threes off his look. The Julian Strother game that he had, remember in game 6 when he had that little 8-minute stretch?
Yeah.
That was on SGA. SGA was guarding him in large of that. He just doesn't focus because I think he can just get a little lost. And I'm saying that like if you're comparing his defense to Chris Paul's scoring, I just personally don't think there's much of an argument because SJ's never shown that kind of ability before.
So two things, which is a fair point. And point number one, Swiper, whenever you talk to me about guys being elite players, one of the first things that you bring up is guys being all NBA performers and getting votes for being all NBA performers. Well, SGA was very close to being an all-league defender this year. He got a bunch of votes to become an all-league defender. He got edged out. And I think that was largely due to the crew that he was on, right? And don't get me wrong. I think it was a bunch of other guards who were in the league during that time, who I can say are better. However, with SGA being an off-ball defender, as much as he gets beat backdoor, like you said, as much as he gets caught turning his head, he's also the same guy who digs on defense, who digs on big guys. Not only does he dig on big guys, he starts their transition with him stealing the basketball. He starts their transition with him getting steals. And he's done that in that Denver series. He did that last year in that New Orleans series. He did that last year in that Dallas series. He wasn't particularly great as a scorer, no doubt about that. But I didn't question his defense. This team got much better defensively this year, and we lost track of how good he was as a defender on lesser teams. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he was first team all defense, but when he got on this team, I feel like this team did. When this team got better as a defense, I feel like this team enhanced his defense because of how much better they were.
Well, but when you say enhanced, though, I think that's where the pushback comes from for me with Mars. Every other star that's a guard in that situation, we say they get hidden. Their flaws are being hidden when they're playing all ball. They're guarding. He's guarding the worst offensive player every series. Like every time he comes down the court, he's guarding whoever the least most palpable offensive force they have. And I think that speaks to OKC's depth, but I also think that speaks to what he is. And I think even if you bring up all defense voting, I mean, he got as many first place votes and second place votes as Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I don't think he was as good of a defender as Giannis this season. I think he got more votes than Jaden McDaniels this year. I don't think he's better defender than Jaden McDaniels. He got more votes than Jared Allen. I don't think he's better defender than Jared Allen.
But
Casey Wallace got less votes than him.
Somebody was lying though with that shit though that they were doing.
That's a point that you always bring up. The fact that these guys end up getting they get votes. But to counter your point when you just said about him having to cover the worst defender, so Swiper, there are teams that mismatch hunt, and even though SGA is the weaker defender,
they hide him,
they do go after him. But he is matched up. He is matched up on sometimes a better scorer. He is matched up on sometimes a better player, and he does hold his own. He doesn't get fried by.
Hold on, chill. I don't think like, and you might have to go back and watch the tape. The whole mismatch hunting against the Thunder doesn't really work, so a lot of teams don't really do it. Like you can try to mismatch hunt, they're just gonna load up, and you can't like
They
doesn't
look
work,
up
so
when
you
Luke
can't.
Dort's on you. So I mean,
Yeah, so it's like you're not gonna get a real
Yeah.
possession where Shea is
The
strapping
Thunder
down
bullies.
1-on-1. Like that shit ain't
They
gonna
just
happen.
bully
Like,
offenses.
so
they got the best
Thunder
POA
wants
defender
you
in the
to try
league,
to
and they
miss-
still
yeah.
gonna have help behind it. It's
Like,
like,
Ron, that's why I
they
say
want
you
you
in
to try to
grave
miss that
danger.
touch. Like they be like, all right, go ahead,
So
try
then,
to miss
so then how
that
do we
touch.
know?
Like,
So if we're using that logic, Jordan, then how do we know how good a defender Lou Dort is? How do we know how good a defender Alex?
because you
Caruso
can't. But first of all, I knew how good of a defender Lou Dort was before this Thunder team came about. Like when Lou Dort first got in the NBA, you knew he was a really good defender. Like that's number one. Same with Caruso.
he
Now,
made his name by guarding harder.
Casey Wallace was a damn good defender in college at Kentucky.
Facts.
So like, you know all of these things about these guys because they were that before the Thunder.
Chet
Like,
Holmgren or Gonzaga.
yeah, Chet, all those guys were damn
Right.
good defenders. It's just you put them together
SGA
on one
was-
screen.
and SGA was that coming out of college at Kentucky.
But-
He was a
but
damn
see-
good defender
but
coming
see,
out of college. He
Not
wasn't
a
great.
damn good.
I'm not gonna.
But he was a raw
Yeah,
player, but he had the chops.
but
Yeah.
but
But
he
no
was
one's saying
also.
SGA's a bad defender.
He's not a bad defender. It's
But
just
you're
that
not
he's
saying
not
that.
good.
What I'm-
he's a good
What I'm doing is
defender. Yeah, he's a good defender.
I'm comparing SGA as a defender to Chris Paul as a bucket getter. That's what we talk.
But that's
Yeah,
not
it's
even.
not even comparable to me. It's like it's not comparable.
Well,
Fellas,
but chill,
I
no, it wouldn't-
hate to have
it
to
would-
do this.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
you
But-
don't. You don't.
Well,
hate
no,
that.
I'm saying we got
Go
4
ahead.
comments to the
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Actually,
And
you're
And
right.
how
I
did you
don't.
have CP3
we
at
have-
5 when you like pure point guards? By the way, that's why your logic don't
He
hold up.
likes
to the Howard thing.
Halliburton.
No,
Yeah, but pure point guard at
no.
5. Like, hey,
I don't-
chill.
I don't have-
Is that
I
not
don't-
true? Russell
I don't have
Westbrook's a
Halliburton
scoring
number one.
guard, and he's
Wait,
the best
no,
pure
Ron,
point guard is
Ron,
CP3
Ron,
in the
is
league, and you had him at
better than
5.
Chris Paul?
Is he better? No.
Okay.
But hold on. Here's the thing, though. I don't have Halliburton as the number 1 point guard in the league. I've admitted that just because I'm higher on assists than most people.
Ron, if the
Scoring
Indiana
trumps
Pacers win the
everything.
NBA championship, who's the best league guard in the game, Ron?
I mean, that's a little
Is he
different. though.
better
go
than
with
Chris
the
Paul then?
bullshit.
If they win the series, he's better than Chris Paul.
It depends how he hoops. It depends.
No.
I don't know.
They're
It
not winning if
depends.
he's wet, Ron.
It
They're not.
depends.
They're
I
not
mean,
winning if he's
it
wet.
depends.
They might win a couple games with 8-6-2. You know what I mean? It just depends.
No,
Gravity,
but you
right,
know-
Ron? Gravity.
But you know what's the thing?
If he does, if they do that, I'm gonna give him more praise. I'm gonna
But
get
you
on my
know-
Mars.
but-
The numbers
but
don't
Ron-
tell the tale. The numbers don't really matter.
Baron, you know the thing that this is where we get Halliburton in a tricky situation is because we always go off the low end for what Hallie's gonna do, and then when he go on the deep end and get a 30-15
32,
game with no
32,
assists,
15 and
He
12.
gets to live in the world of he gets praised when he exceeds expectations, and then when he underplays expectations, okay.
yeah, and then it's
Sound
like,
like
and
Jimmy
it's
It's
Butler
like,
always
to me.
okay, Ali. Don't worry.
Sound
I
like
think
Jimmy
we
Butler
make,
to me.
but I think we make
That's
a
what it
mistake.
is.
But I also think we're making a mistake though of holding Hallie to this low end kind of standard. Like, let's just
Right.
hold him to the standard that he can be phenomenal. And when he doesn't be phenomenal, like it's a testament to how good the team is. But it's also a knock on Halliburton. Like that, I'm okay with that. But I think every single time that we get on here and say they go wrong with this bullshit. But every time we get on here and say that Hallie, what if he goes 8, 10, and 12? Like y'all setting this up for
Hey, he had 8-6-2.
yeah, or like we setting this up for clip farming. We setting this up for Hallie to go get a 35-point game and Ron to get up here, gloat and boast. And y'all set this shit up. Like,
Come on,
there's
baby,
no
let's
way-
go.
It's no way Ron can lose if y'all keep doing this shit. That's all I'm telling you. It's no way.
But the
Jordan,
chat,
you
to be
gotta
fair,
stop exposing them. Just let it be what it is. You know.
But Jordan,
Just
to be fair, the chat also did say the other day when I complained openly that they don't hold Ron to the same standard they hold some of us. The chat also said they don't expect more from Ron than they do anybody else. That's why when he says what he says, they don't really care. They literally said that.
Y'all-
Chill.
y'all
They
said
did
that.
say that. I got a screenshot.
I did read that comment. I did read that
when I
comment.
come and put 32, 15, and 12 on your ass,
That's
don't
what
say
I'm
nothing.
saying. But
I
y'all setting
definitely
it up
did
for
read
that shit
comment. I
though.
didn't know
Y'all,
Swipe would be in the comments. I didn't know that. Good to
he
know.
say he don't. Swipe would be.
Well, I had to
Swipe
be the other day because
Swipe-
we had to address some things. But shout out.
Swipe would be under the covers at night. Going.
I don't be under the covers. I sleep on top of the covers. I'm a man.
Whatever. I sleep
Tell
under
him,
the
Swipe
covers.
up.
Like, hey,
I
I
sleep
snuggled up.
snuggled up.
Swipe
and-
up.
I'm a man.
Yeah,
you
something.
hear that?
Sleeping under all them
Hey
confidence.
Jordan, that's a Jordan quote. My bad, Jordan.
Yeah,
My bad.
yeah,
I don't sleep under these bed sheets.
That's right.
I'm a
That's a fact, Ox.
I sleep under a couple sixes.
Hey, Ox, no fan
Oh,
on nothing
damn.
either. I don't need no breeze.
You crazy as a motherfucker, boy. Shit, cut the fan on when it's cold outside, boy. But I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I ain't been in the comments lately. I did took a step of improving. I don't
You
even
need to step
respond
back
to
because you be in
comments.
there too much. Yeah, that's fact.
Yeah, I am on. Now I got too many comments on my. I got too much motion on my own page, Swiper. So I got to deal with those comments. I can't go to deal with PC comments and my comments. I take my anger out on the wrong people. So shit,
All
I
right,
just
y'all.
stay out.
Speaking of comments, the next comment of the week is from Mike Point 386 on episode 568. Mike said Mars choked when the panel needed him. When it was time for Mars to show his greatness, he had 2 points while shooting 1 for 17 and 10 turnovers.
Garbage.
He was
Trash.
a complete no-show, and he proved that when the lights get bright, he's nowhere to be found.
What is this about, Mars?
Yeah, Mars. What is this about?
Mars,
you talk about Hallie. What about your 8, 6, and 4?
It's ironic because that's an episode I wasn't on. So somehow I managed to drop 2 points in an episode I didn't even feature. Tell me how that's possible. I got 2 points and I wasn't even in the game.
Damn.
I must have been hooping. I don't know what to tell you. I wasn't even there.
Damn,
you was 17.
You was getting technical
I put
fouls and
17
shit on the
shots
bench.
up and a DMP in the same game.
Because you know what you did, Mars. You showed up to the game with
skill.
y'all. You showed up to the game with
How
all
you
your
doing
damn
that?
jewelry on, your bust down watch,
I
your
was in my
goddamn
business.
big
I
ass
was in my
chain and
Down
shit,
watch.
and got a technical foul on the sideline and
I
shit.
was hooping. I
For
don't know
talking
what to
shit
tell
to the
you. I
ref.
was hooping. I managed to get 17 shots up during a DMP. Like that's skill right there.
Shout out Mars,
Damn.
man. He does things that, quite frankly,
Not many
most of us
people can
can't
do
do.
that. Show me LeBron
Mars
James.
showed up on the sideline with his shiesty mask, with his hat, with his fitted hat over the top, with a grill in his mouth, goddamn bust down chain.
What jeans was he wearing?
Miri jeans. That boy
Nah,
had
nah,
straight
whoa, whoa,
Miris
whoa.
on. That boy Mars had them straight Miris on with the goddamn big ass boots they be wearing. What's them joints called?
Hey yo, can you put me on full screen, Ron, real quick?
I can't remember. I know.
Put me on full screen, Ron. Hey Jordan, I found your picture from San Francisco.
You better
Jordan.
quit fucking with me. Swiper, you better quit fucking with me. I'm gonna just tell
I
you
found
right
your
now.
picture.
Swiper,
Jordan, you remember that outfit, Jordan?
Swiper,
Jordan, you remember that
let me
fit?
know right now. Leave me
You
alone.
wore that on a Friday, maybe.
I've been chilling. Swiper, I've been chilling. I just want you to leave me alone. I just want you to leave me alone.
Hey, it ain't even. Hey, Mars, it ain't even Friday yet. This is gonna be a good week.
bro.
I can't wait for this. I can't wait for this
Swiper,
ball
you
season.
Ain't no way the
I
Drench
ain't
man
even
wearing
gonna mess
that.
with you.
The
I
Drench
ain't
man
even
ain't no
gonna
way
mess
he
with
wearing that.
Nah,
No
I
way.
ain't
Chills,
gonna
you
let him.
said
I ain't
you
even
said he
gonna
wasn't
mess
fresh
with
in that
Swiper.
picture right there.
Ain't no
No.
way he wearing that. No way.
Bro,
I'm gonna be real.
No,
I'm gonna
he
be
ain't
real.
wearing that.
I'm gonna be real. I ain't even gonna mess with Swiper
Mm-mm.
while he here.
I thought the shiny
I'ma
black
do some
leathers in the
bullshit to
beard
you,
was.
Swiper.
I thought it was complimented.
I'm
That,
gonna fuck
Jordan,
with
that
Swiper when
video's
you not
already
here.
been shown. That ain't me. We gone through this a year ago. We went through this a year ago. It ain't me. Everybody know it ain't me.
I'm gonna mess with you when you're not here, when you can't defend yourself. That's type of petty shit I'm on. I want you can't defend yourself fucking with me. It ain't. I want to get the last laugh. That's what I'm on. Last laugh records over here, boy. I'm signed for life.
All right, y'all. The next comment of the week is from Sion Jones, 3328. Sion Jones in episode 568 said, "Man, I don't usually watch the show. I just listen at work, but I'm shook off how y'all ain't cook Swiper for that shit on his head."
You talking about the bandana? I've
I
been
was
wearing
trying-
bandana since I was
I
10
kept-
years old.
I kept trying to line it up for y'all. Y'all was acting like y'all was just, oh, it's okay. He over here with the red.
Y'all had Swiper running around like he Pop.
Yeah,
Anybody
I'm
got
trying.
screenshots?
I kept dropping little shit trying to line it up so we could jump this nigga, and everybody was acting like they was oblivious.
Man,
I'm like,
shout
all
out
right,
Emma
running
Brother.
around like he was
I'm like, so y'all don't
I
want to pick on Swiper. Swiper's giving us great material, and y'all don't want to pick on Swiper. All right, fuck it.
Bro,
know
but
what I'm
Ox,
saying? Like,
they let
that's
Swiper
crazy to
run
me.
around like he was a knockoff Pop, aka Q-Tip.
Nah, he didn't
Q-Tip a knockoff. You know Q-Tip
He
story.
didn't even have it like that, Jordan. He had this shit like Dipset, like Joel Santana, and then when they had it in the
knockoff.
under the hat. You know, or how the hat. You know when he was wearing the do rags with it under the hat. all that.
That
I was born. But Ox, we was born in 1990. What do you think we was wearing in 2002, bro? That's what we was wearing.
I wasn't wearing that.
I wasn't wearing that either. What you mean?
I wasn't wearing that in California.
Hey, not where
I
I was
definitely
from.
Hell no, I wasn't wearing that.
I wasn't wearing that in California.
Shit,
Hell
y'all, I don't know
no.
what
You
y'all
lost your
doing in
damn
Denver,
mind.
but shit.
He wears a red bandana. Shout out Swiper, man. All right. The last comment of the week is from Black Excellence or Black Excellence. Black Excellence on episode 566 said, "Dub host." And the dub is for wine coolers.
Nigga
My
was up
bad.
here. Niggas up here sauce.
Oh,
Some wine coolers at 8 in the morning.
Hey, I usually don't
My
do
dude
this.
Ron was struggling, B. My dude Ron was hurting. He was hurting that day.
I'm saying put that girl wine coolers back in the refrigerator,
boy,
man.
hurt.
7:30 in the morning, man.
Hey,
Ron
during the
got his
show, I
own
said,
wine
hey, I
cooler.
said to
That's
go get
crazy.
some more during the
Yeah,
stuff.
the same fits
I
on.
see you. I see you come with a whole new flavor at about 9:45. I was
Ron ain't
watching.
comb his hair. He just looked like he just came right from the spot to the.
Y'all must be
job.
talking about Ron came in there when he had his little do-rag, when he had his do-rag line still on. Y'all must be talking about that one.
No, he didn't even put the do-rag on that night.
Nope.
He was just sleeping good to the motherfucker.
Hey, this is the day after Memorial Day weekend.
Hey, if you can wake up with a line across your forehead and you ain't had your do-rag on, boy, you would sleep like a motherfucker, boy.
Thanks. I'm saying though, like now,
you gotta
y'all
turn
see
it the other way anyway. Oh, I never had that. Never. I always
y'all,
turn my
y'all
opposite
see what's
way.
y'all see what's going on here. Like that's why our host is powered by degeneracy. You know what I'm saying? It's just that was just the day. It's just degenerate shit right there.
Ron, are you a degenerate?
All I know, chill, is
That's
y'all
a
gonna
yes
be
or
on
no
Playback.
question, Ron. I don't need none of your bullshit.
Chill, I'll plead the
It's a
fifth,
yes or no
chill.
question, Ron.
When
You a
we are
degenerate.
live, chill.
Yes or
The
no?
words that my answer to that can be used against me in the future.
No, it can't
So I'ma
be. It's a
just
yes
plead
or no
the fifth.
question, Ron. Yes or no? Are you a degenerate?
Nah.
Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to know.
Mm-mm.
That's it.
Hey, all I know is Thursday, y'all showing up to game 1 of the finals on Playback. Everybody has to
I'm
invite.
locked in. I'm locked
Mars, Swiper, Pin, y'all. We all got invites. Pat man, if you
To watch a butt whooping.
Shit.
So, with that being said, I'm just saying my wine coolers may or may not be ice cold, and I may or may not show up on Friday after our game 1 win.
Ron, are
in
you
the same manner.
a brown man? You a brown man?
What kind of
Like
question
some bourbon?
is that?
Are you a bourbon guy?
Do you drink cognac?
Yeah.
Oh,
Bourbon,
okay. I'm about to
whiskey.
say, man, what the hell?
I'm more of a La Fiesta type of dude, you know.
Oh, okay.
You feel me? Hey, but I mean,
got
it's brown tequila, so I mean, depending on the day, I could be brown or light.
Yeah.
The
But,
brown man is crazy. That shit tripped me out, Swiper.
I know you ain't a brown man. I know exactly what you like, Jordan. So don't worry about it.
One thing about Swiper got a terminology for every goddamn thing, boy. I never heard this many terminologies until I met Swiper. This man Swiper got literally any architect in the NBA, whatever position you are. Are you a front court passer? You're the best front court passer in the NBA. Like that's him.
What the hell is
You're
a
the best front
passer?
court fast break passer in the NBA. The best sideline out of bound passer in the world.
But Jordan, now tell me, Ox, when he says the best front court, half full court passer in the league, tell me who exactly you think about in 2014.
You ain't even got to give me a year. You don't got to give me a year. We know it's Kevin Love.
Yep. Hey, so it worked. Jordan, it worked.
Give me a year. I know it's K Love.
Front court, full court, but what the fuck does that even mean? What the hell is going on right now? Am I in the Matrix? What the hell y'all
That's
doing?
what I be saying. Look. That's what I was saying when I first got on PC. Like that shit used to throw me off, bro. I had to take a break and realize this motherfucker sabotaging basketball with these bullshit ass terminology. Like
What does that even mean?
the best pick and roll cross court corner passer in the league. I'm like, what?
Now, when I say that,
Who is that though?
Luka.
Is that Luka?
You know that's Luka.
You see how he come up with this shit that fast? Like this is peak terminology.
Jordan, say another one. Say another one. We'll go 3 for 3. Say another one, Jordan. We'll go 3 for 3. Say another one.
I'm gonna give you one on defense. I think such and such is the best backpedaling defender in the NBA. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like,
well, actually, that might be KCP. That might be KCP. That might be transition. Might be
look how he
KCP.
come up with this shit right here.
Might be KCP.
He got an answer. He got an answer.
KCP, bro.
Look, he'll be like shuffling from side to side. I don't think I've seen the better defender shuffle from side to side in the last 20 years.
Herb Jones.
Who the fuck is thinking
backpedaling defenders for sure? Caruso though. What I seen him do that last series?
I don't know. Caruso stand his ground a lot though, Ron. I think Caruso he stand his ground a lot. He not easily to get to retreat.
You guys underrated.
Well, no, I'm talking about like if you running on a fast break and you gotta like it's like
okay, I see what you're saying.
2-on-1.
How are we having conversations?
See, because if that would have been Caruso instead of Lou Dort, Ja would have never broke his hip.
Bruh, this is not real. Nobody talks hoops like this on the court. Let's say you waiting on a pickup game. Nobody's saying, but you see the way he backpedals and play defense. Nobody on earth is doing that.
If you're paying attention to what.
But the thing, Jordan,
but that doesn't change that it's happening.
Yeah, Jordan, you gotta realize but you know this, Jordan. You want to be a trendsetter. The thing is, we're rewiring the way people talk about the game, though. Think about it. They're gonna reference it back to remember, they're BPC before PC. These things didn't exist. Post PC,
you show
right.
BPC.
Hey Jordan, when you playing in a tournament, are you like you pretty much know a lot of the teams you're gonna play? Like not local tournament, not even no local or anything like that. If you playing in a tournament, you going to the other games, right? Like you scouting the other teams.
Yeah.
Are you just showing up just confident we kicking their ass on?
It really just depends. It really depends. Like if it's like a top national tournament or some shit like that, I'm gonna scout the other teams because you getting all the best shit all in under one roof. If you just playing some shit where 9 times out of 10 you show up, your guys can hoop, you should be in the game. But you can show up on a national tournament and your guys can hoop and they guys can hoop and you can get your ass bust because you're not.
Oh
prepared.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that type.
I only ask that because like I'm thinking when Swiper say that, I'm looking, I feel him with the labeling just because it's like. That sounds like kind of scouting to me. You know what I'm saying? Like because I really enjoy the scouting part of basketball. You know what I'm saying?
I do too.
Just like the the preparation. You know what I'm saying? And especially like in a tournament where you got to do it quick and you just kind of see like let me see what I could come up with real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I like that too.
I feel the labeling part.
I feel that too, but I don't feel the labeling part when we talking about this player versus like Swiper be on bullshit with that boy and they be throwing people off.
Who?
Be like, bro,
Ox got it. We went straight to Kevin Love. He got it. We went to Luka. He got it.
I'm just saying, Swiper will derail your statement. You could be making a hell of a point, and then he'll try to put some bullshit in right in the mix, right when you about to get to the point. Are you saying he's the best shuffle and side-to-side defender in the last 10 years? And then he would look serious too, like he just said something. Like, motherfucker, you ain't saying shit. Like, that's not got nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
Like Avery Bradley.
See, and then Mars will tag along to ask, yeah, is that what you saying? And then now I gotta crash out because now y'all done got me fucked up. That's not what I'm saying. Like,
hey, I just want to know real quick, like during the offseason, are we going like talk about some past forgotten players? Like, can we get a David Lee episode?
Yep, let me know.
You see my poll I ran on Twitter a while ago about David Lee?
What?
No.
Nah.
This time maybe a month or two ago. I asked the people, and the answer was overwhelmingly for this person, and I think everyone up here would agree. Who was a better player, Zach Randolph or David Lee? And obviously, Zach Randolph won the poll.
Yeah, big
man.
But a lot of people don't know that David Lee was really good.
Yeah, they're crazy.
People don't know, but David Lee's kind of before
All-Star David Lee. Come on, now.
Like I think David Lee's before 50 to 60% of our chat's time. You know what I'm saying? Right.
And by the way, Ron,
early 2010s,
there wasn't a lot. I think we got a young.
David Lee got a championship.
Zebo got a legend about him.
Yeah, he was on that 15 team. Yeah,
that's right.
But he wasn't like New York David Lee though.
Yeah,
like New York David Lee was something else.
And David Lee played defense.
Is it your issue? Is your issue Zach being better than him, or the poll wasn't closer?
My issue is a lot of people. When asked, were very shocked to the fact that the question could even be asked.
Like you shouldn't even be talking about these two dudes.
And B, when people are speaking about David Lee, they're just saying things that are flat out untrue about David Lee. They said he was a terrible defender. That's just untrue. I'm sorry. I just think people are just voting and they don't actually know the players they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. They just seen David Lee body
was
type.
A better defender than Zach Randolph was. So
yeah,
you can't say
but then you looked at David Lee's body type
because David Lee didn't play defense. When David Lee was a better defender than Zach Randolph, like that just doesn't make sense. So
look at David Lee body type and skin
that's
color.
why I'm like, okay, David Lee is just very clearly underrated. But it is what it is. Like, I would love to have a show where we talk about guys like David Lee or
Jordan. I call Jay.
I will not forget those 2 years where Roy Hibbert was elite.
Yeah, he
Roy
was.
Hibbert was a really good player for a little time.
13 and 14. Yep.
Like, we need to talk about Antonio McDyess. I've been bringing him. Nobody been a bigger Antonio McDyess fan than me. Boy, I've been bringing that shit up.
Well, I don't know if you said that about me.
You have.
Yeah, you crazy. But Antonio
McDyess
hold on. You nightmares,
wait, Jordan. I said J-Dub is the new iteration of prime Eddie Jones, and they laughed because they didn't know how good Eddie Jones was back in the day. Eddie Jones
was better than J-Dub.
There's an argument. Eddie Jones was cold, Mars. Stop it. Bro.
He wasn't better than J-Dub.
No, but he was an all-NBA player. He was an all-NBA player, bro.
It's
close. Chill, am I tripping? Eddie Jones was like that in his prime.
It's close. Nice. Eddie Jones was nice.
I actually got J-Dub.
He was
Eddie Jones was cold,
remember, I'm higher on J-Dub than
y'all just on that shit.
But Eddie Jones was
with Eddie Jones. Y'all don't know shit what happened with
I
Eddie.
grew up
That's it.
on Eddie Jones. And
Eddie Jones good.
All right.
But last time I had Eddie Jones, he was compared. Was it Mikal Bridges? He got compared to?
That's who I compared him to. That's who he
Yeah,
reminded me
But
of.
he better than Mikal Bridges.
Yeah,
too.
I remember saying because I was saying that Eddie Jones is like better than Mikal Bridges.
Eddie Jones, the real six, if you ask me, for Miami.
I just
but
don't
that's
think he's
another
better
story.
than. I don't think he's
Yeah,
better.
but that's why Eddie Jones be on, get the bullshit end of the stick though, because of what happened with with him and his trades and all that shit like that. But
So first of all, Eddie Jones is the excuse me. Eddie Jones is the victim. I'm going to call him a victim. He's the victim of bad timing. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence.
Miami and LA.
Yes, it's not a coincidence that he gets traded, and he gets traded in '98, and 2 years later they win the NBA championship. He gets traded in 05, 06. The very next year they win the NBA championship. That's not a coincidence. Even though they get into the Eastern Conference championship and they get into the Western Conference championship with Eddie Jones on the roster. Eddie Jones was an all-NBA performer. Ron, to be honest with you, when we're talking about a one-on-one player, Eddie Jones was fantastic as a one-on-one player. Had a great pull-up game. Great at getting to the rim.
So he'd be even better right now in this era. This era right now. Eddie Jones. He was built for 2025. Chill.
Don't forget the defense, chill.
Like 6'6", 6'7", long arms.
But hold on.
Wait, hold on, Jordan. Chill. Was he better? Was he better than Latrell? Do you think was at that Knicks Latrell? Do you think he was better at that than he was at that point? Than
Eddie Jones.
Offensively, no.
Eddie Jones.
You remember better than I do, even. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a stretch.
No, I don't. To be honest with you, I'm in the minority. I don't ever think Sprewell was better than Eddie Jones at any time that I think he was better than him.
That's fair.
That ain't fair. That ain't fair.
But I love Eddie though. I'm saying I'm high.
That includes that
all around game though, Jordan. No, all around.
Yeah, like the defense stuff.
Now Latrell get you here. He get you here. He get you to the rim, and it's over. But Eddie could do everything. Chill.
Yes.
I guess all around. But hold on, chill. I'm glad you brought up a victim because Ox, I got a tweet for you to steal again. I just got to get this off because I've been kind of mentoring the young a little bit. Listen,
Ramon, I'm ready.
If you ever paint yourself as a victim, you have lost all control over your life. You are never the victim. Okay? Never the victim to anything in your life. If you accept that, you will continue to be the victim.
Like in reality, or
I want to bring up right
mentally?
now, but it's just not the time and not the place.
Period. Don't ever look at yourself as a victim because
whoa. Just for quick example. 3 years ago, chill, I went to the gas station, and then I look at my account. I got charged $920. Was I a victim of fraud or no?
You 100% were a victim of fraud.
Yeah. Okay. Why were you a victim of fraud?
You gotta take ownership of the situation.
Why was you a victim?
See, Jordan, I don't think I could steal that one. First of all, I think you already posted that. I think you already posted that earlier. Second of all, I mean, unless you've been victimized.
Yeah,
I guess, but I'm saying,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I give a reference. Like if let's say you grew up in a bad situation, okay, and everybody excuses when you're young, they're gonna always use this excuse. They're gonna use you grew up in a bad situation. This person grew up in a bad situation. Like you have to understand. Back then, society, there was no place for that excuse. Now, society enables. Hold on. I'm talking about like the early 2000s. I'm talking about the early 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, or whatever. Now in this new thing, society enables that mindset. Like society enables for you to believe that means something. So before Jordan, you know it, life passed you by.
Can I do this, Jordan?
You still think you're the victim.
Can we
get over that shit? Nobody cares. Can
we revise that then and say don't let your surroundings define you? How about that?
I mean, yeah, but the victim part is a little bit more bold.
I don't know. If I was born in 1947, I could see myself being a victim for quite a few things, respectively.
If I was around in the 60s, yes. If I was around in the 60s, I was not around in the 60s, Mars. No, I was not.
Fellas, we about to move into these super chats. Before we get to super chats, on my timeline, something just popped up regarding the Phoenix Suns and regarding Kevin Durant. And apparently the Suns have lowered their asking price for Kevin Durant.
Maybe that car you trying to sell ain't worth as much as you thought it was.
We knew this was gonna happen.
Maybe we got to lower the price tag on that.
Hey, can all of us just put the team out there right now. Let's do the Kevin Durant sweepstakes.
Houston.
We'll all put $20 in the pot. Whoever wins gets all.
Oh, that's too little for you, Mars.
$20 a lot of money, man.
200. Mars, you got pounds. That's
all right. Well, we don't got to do it for the money. Let's just do it
for the love of the game. For the love of the game, Houston. For the love of the game.
We'll just do it for bragging rights then. You know what I'm saying? Just do it for bragging rights. Who y'all got?
So I'm 86 in New York. I don't see him back in New York.
Dallas? No, he come to North Cal.
They don't have. If he ends up in New York.
I mean Golden State, Ron. No, I'm just playing. But who y'all got though? For real, I got Dallas though. I really got Dallas.
It better not be Dallas.
I got Dallas.
So
y'all
gonna take Houston too, Mars.
I hope it's Houston. I hope it's Houston. No, it's gonna go back to second round. They go.
Who you got though, Swiper? Denver?
Don't ask me that question. No, it's probably Dallas. It's probably Dallas, bro. Dallas would be crazy. Dallas would be crazy.
He going to Texas is where
I'm taking the Houston thing, Mac balls. It's gonna be somebody that we ain't even talking about. It's gonna be somebody that
someone's just going
I'm gonna say San Antonio. Just
everyone picking a Texas team, so basically KD's destined to be in Texas.
They got the oil money.
It's not San Antonio, Ron.
Why not?
I don't like that time.
I can say it's not Dallas. Why not? They got the
I think Dallas makes a little more sense with the timeline.
Might be a little bit Dallas.
I think Houston make perfect sense for both teams.
I think it may make better sense for Dallas though. But
what does he look like in Detroit with a third team involved?
They're too young.
They need
That's for D-Book.
And D-Book is from Michigan too. So.
In Houston, like they got a bunch of.
But that's why I said Dallas is probably the better team.
He doesn't change Houston's ceiling at all, though. They don't do anything anymore. They don't. Nothing changed for Houston. Nothing, Mars. Nothing. They're still going to be respectful.
You get a closer.
That nullifies a lot of the half.
No, I'm good. Mars. I don't want your basketball analysis. I disagree. I mean, what's the best?
Bro, who you got?
You know what? I said San Antonio. You know what?
Oh, you did say San Antonio.
I damn near want to say New York.
That'd be nice.
In New
York.
Yeah,
they ain't sending McHale back to
McHale again.
But I'm not trading Cat for KD though.
Right, Jordan. We did the New York thing already. We ain't doing that again.
Yeah.
For OG.
Oh no.
Fuck out of here.
No.
Brunson and OG are the two that I'm absolutely.
won't even entertain
everyone else. Josh Hart, bye. McHale,
really?
I'll let you go. Cat,
so wait, you would rather give up Cat than OG?
Yes, OG's better than Cat.
No,
I don't think I can build a good enough team with Cat. I just don't think that's possible.
How does Cat get this blame, but it's Brunson was the worst defender on the team?
The issue. Brunson was the worst defender on the team. The issue is that I'm have to pick one of them, and I'm choosing Brunson. It's not
really about blame to me.
Who's more stoic, Kane or Jordan? Neither. You connect stoicism with Jordan?
Stoic?
Yeah, stoicism.
I'm ignorant. I have no idea what he means in this context. That's what I want to know. I have no idea. What does he mean in this?
Yeah,
this context, I don't know. I know what I'm in this context. I don't get what he's saying.
Who's more wise?
I don't think that's what
stoic means
referencing in this situation.
But I don't get what he's asking in this context, like and why. My question.
Like he's talking about your quotes refined, versus calm, reserve,
even killed. I think he's talking about the quotes.
And it's definitely not Jordan. It's the most stoic person on PC is chill. The main timer is chill. He's a fake stoic. He's not stoic for he's just be disengaged. Ron is stoic when he's buzzing a little bit, but that's no conversation. Mars is not stoic at all. He just
Mars
for the right
most
moment to
erratic. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Mars is the most erratic. Y'all just don't see it because y'all think of Mars is something else, but Mars is the most erratic. Go look at all the clips. Who crashes out the most?
Y'all ain't see Mars almost crash out on Ron like 30 minutes ago?
Yeah, we did.
Mars
is the most erratic.
Wait, hold on. Hey, Jordan, this was Mars yesterday. His hoodie was over his eye. He said, I said 30 times. Some.
I'm telling you, Mars is the most erratic, bro. Y'all just look at him in a different definition. Like y'all, the chat see Mars as all hell King Mars. That's what you got that old.
It's probably John D. It has to be John D.
English. Yeah, John. We don't know nothing about John D. John D. Don't even say shit.
Bring up the Lakers. No, it's not because bring up the Lakers and he will flip out.
We cut John D off too damn much to know.
Wait, what about Fluid? What about Fluid? Is he the most stoic, chill?
I don't know who that is.
Tone is a troll. 100%.
Okay.
Yes, Tone is a troll.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
guess
ultimately,
it's
I'll
Penn.
probably say
It's
Dion.
not Penn.
Dion.
Yeah,
Dion
Talk
from
about
Ohio.
Dion.
Nah, Mars, I give it back. Dion from Ohio, a little bit more erratic than you is. I mean, it's just, it might just be the mic, or I don't know. It could just be.
Wait,
the
Jordan,
mic,
who's the
but
most
Dion Mack is
unpredictable?
crazy.
Who's the most
Huh?
unpredictable PC member?
Probably me. I'm gonna be honest with you. Probably
Jordan is
myself.
definitely the loose cannon of us.
I would say that in
100%.
life. I would say that in
Nah,
life.
Ron mad
I'm a-
unpredictable because sometimes
No.
Ron just be bored and want to get involved and just start saying nonsense.
Nah, but Mars, I'm gonna be real with you in life. Like I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like I'm unpredictable in life. Like sometimes I like just be like, bro, I wake up and I be like, bro, I'm on bullshit today. Fuck it. And then I just really stay on it. Like I'm just being real. Like when I'm on to be on bullshit, I'm on bullshit. And deep down, I know I'm on the bullshit. Like I know it. And then I would have a change of heart maybe a year from now. Like I might change my mind a year from now. But like I'm on bullshit for a year. That's how bad. That's how unpredictable.
Jordan, you might want to work on that, bro. Wake up and meditate.
Yeah.
No, you about
Back,
to
back,
talk to
Hawk.
somebody.
You
Talk
need
to
to have-
somebody.
Need to have some affirmations in the
you
mirror.
need
That's
to
what I
meditate,
said.
dog.
Jordan
I
needs to talk to
said,
somebody.
Jordan, you my man, bro. I can't just sit here and listen to that and not say that.
You
bro.
right,
gotta
you
chill,
right. But I
dog.
said,
sit down.
breathing exercises, bro.
look,
Breathe.
that's my
Work
superpower
that out,
sometimes though. Like that's why I can't. That's why I don't take shit personal because that's my superpower. Like I can be on bullshit for a year and then I can be forgiven for a year and then I won't never be on that bullshit again. Cause I was on the bullshit for too
That's
long.
2 years gone, Jordan.
It is what it is though. But I'm wise. I learned a lot.
Do you know how inefficient that is, bro? That is the opposite of efficiency.
But see, look.
Hey,
Though,
Jordan,
this is
let
why
me
I
know
said I
a
don't
day
read the
before
comments no more.
you decide to hit that I'm on bullshit button again.
For
So
sure,
I could just
for
prep
sure.
Nah,
myself.
hey, because I don't got a whole year in me, but I got a week. I'll catch a flight. But other than that, though, bro, you got to chill.
Nah. I ain't gonna get that too far on bullshit. Like, I'm just saying, like, when I just want to be a asshole when I don't have no filter, shit, I'm on it for a year. It's
Jordan,
cool.
Jordan, who's the best politician?
As far as on PC or what?
Yeah. No, not in real life.
Yeah, Swiper.
It's Swiper. by far.
Swiper. It's clearly Swiper. Swiper is a political man in many different ways, in many different categories. This man would be on bullshit. This man, you see, in person. This motherfucker in person is worse. Swiper the politician in person is worse. I'm off the rip saying that. Y'all ain't seen shit. See it in person. You be like, what the fuck, Swiper? But hey, you know,
I like that shit. I'll be enjoying that in person, not on here.
Hey,
on
coach,
here, I don't like that shit. In
hey,
person,
coach,
I'll be like,
that's
I like this shit.
Hey, coach, that's a great way to put it. You right. This is my thing. You go low, I'm gonna go to hell. It is what it is. I'm gonna meet
All
you.
right, bro. Hey, Ron, move on, bro.
I'm just telling you the truth. That's why I be
How about you go high and then somebody go to heaven?
No.
you
I'm
tripping,
gonna
bro.
get there. I'm gonna get there. But I'm just saying,
I'ma get
before I
there.
get there, I gotta make my visit first. I gotta let you know. You know, it is what it is. And I'm on that bullshit for a minute until you leave me alone.
Well, the most
All right,
mentally,
so-
the most
You know,
mentally
time
unhealthy
heals
person
all.
on PC is one buddy because he constantly still always trying to find a way to
Loser.
chill.
Straight
Always, every
loser.
day.
There-
Just
and
let
if
it
you look
rest.
up the definition of loser,
Pop it
it's
out.
a picture of him with them fat ass bowling ball black lips. That's him. Loser. Straight. There's nothing productive about that dude. Straight loser. Anything about him just suggests loser. He the dude that remember when you was a kid and you came home with one of your friends and your mom was like, get that motherfucker out of my house. That's him. That is him every
Hell
day.
yeah.
He's the one who she told you, I don't want you hanging around him. Because he is a fucking loser on every level. There's nothing productive about that dude. Straight loser.
Chill. I had this friend. I was in the first grade. I had this friend named Cecil. He was a year ahead of me. He was in the second grade.
Cecil.
I used to, my mom was
crazy ass man.
What was this, 1962?
I remember this
Cecil's
like
a crazy
yesterday
ass
though.
man.
I was in the first grade. He was in the
Cecil
second
fucking
grade.
He
was
had
in
no
the
nickname,
second-
Ox. That motherfucker had no
Nah, that
nickname.
was his name, bro. That was just the little
Hey.
nigga name, bro. I'm just giving you the story.
Hey, I'm not
Bro,
calling
look,
none of my partner Cecil. Your name is Cece.
I can't call the nigga CC. Is that? But nah, look. So what I'm saying is like that was the friend I used to get in trouble because I would not stop hanging out with this dude because dude was so wild. I used to get whoopings all the time because my sister used to tell my mom that I was hanging out with him at school and shit. Oh, I used to get whoopers all the time because I would not stop hanging out with Cecil.
My nigga Cecil had a goddamn 40 ounce in his lunch pail in the second grade. Nigga, that nigga.
Yo,
that
hey,
nigga
no,
was
look,
in the
I
second
remember
grade
at recess one time he had took a piece of the printer paper and was picking actual weed out the grass, rolling it up, talking about we smoking.
See,
nigga, this was like I was weed. I'm like, bro, this nigga's crazy.
Cecil grew up on Marley Marl.
I was in the first grade. I was in the first grade. He was in the second grade. But my sister in the third grade above him. So she used to always be seeing us at lunch and she'd be like, "No, I'm telling you."
Where's Cecil? You need to do an episode right now. Where's Cecil now?
We know where Cecil at.
Yo, you know where Cecil at, bro. Come on.
If they let you watch the institution that you in, shout out to you. You just got a shout out.
Cecil and San Quentin.
All right, y'all. Into these super chats. We got a members chat from Panzu. And Panzu said, PC's trends starters. Halaban is Damo. Or PC's trend starters. Halaban is Damo. # bring him back.
Wait, Mars, did you see what they got Halaban for
Hallelujah?
Hallelujah? Did you see what they did for Shay?
What about Hallelujah?
I did not see what I did for sure.
It's Al Shader.
Oh my god. Okay.
I did see that. I seen the Halaban versus Al Shader. I did see that. I definitely saw that. That shit is funny.
NBA Twitter is crazy, man.
Yeah. And they be doing the mock-ups too. That shit is hilarious.
JT Blick said, we are going to have outrageous conversations when Hallie wins a chip. # 49 states.
Ron, what happens if Indiana wins the NBA championship? There's no way they're winning it without Hallie playing great. Like Hallie can't play mid and they win it. That's not going to happen.
Maybe.
I just can't see that. So what happens if they win the NBA championship and Halliburton is awesome? Like how we talking about him, Ron?
What's going to happen is I'm going to pour y'all all a cup of tea. We're going to sit around this campfire. Maybe s'mores, maybe I don't know. We'll have some good snacks, and we are going to have a legit conversation, a real conversation.
Mm-hmm.
No politician bullshit in there. Swiper, no crash outs. Jordan,
you're gonna say better than CP3 because he had the title.
We'll have a real legit.
Ron. Start bench cut. Halliburton with a championship and a Finals MVP. Halliburton, Chris Paul, John Stockton.
Yo,
start bench cut.
I can't do that right now.
Yes, you can,
Talk
Ron.
to me. Yes,
you can, Ron.
In about 2.5 weeks.
Yes, you can
do
it, Ron.
Talk to me in 2.5 weeks. I can't
you
do that right now.
100% could do it.
I can't do that right now.
Okay.
Naptown said, do y'all think the Thunder are a better shooting team?
They haven't been in the playoffs.
But overall, I would say hell no.
Yeah, I think the Pacers have more. The Pacers have like legit 5 out. I don't know. I think the Pacers are probably the better shooting team.
Trayvon Ray said, not gonna lie, I could be glazing, but CP3 could somewhat mirror SGA scoring today. Is the best on-ball playmaker in the league. I think he's a better team and on-ball defender and wins the possession battle.
I disagree with the first statement. Everything else I agree with.
This is the way it gets
I disagree with the first statement.
Because I mean, you got Chris Paul averaging 30 plus a game.
I don't think he could come close to.
Hey, whoa, chill. All right,
sir.
2006 Gilbert Arenas in 2025, or Shea in 2025 as a score.
Oh my god.
Shea in 2025 as a bucket.
Was unbelievable.
I think Gil dropped 60 on Kobe.
Boy, man,
in LA.
Gil was unbelievable.
Okay. I watched Shea drop 50 on Asar Thompson.
100% he did that. On Asar Thompson. Yes, he did.
A better defender.
In fact, take it a step further than that, Mars. Who's got the most 50-point games this season?
Shea.
Who's got the most 40-point games this season?
Shea.
30?
Oh
Shea.
my gosh.
20?
In the playoffs?
Shea, I mean,
who got the most 40-point games in the playoffs, Joe?
Brunson? Is it Brunson?
Yeah.
Or is it Shea? I don't know.
I think it's Brunson. I know Brunson broke a record, so it got to be Brunson. Well,
Brunson got
a Is it Joker? Because I know
it got to be
He
Brunson.
only has two.
Yeah, it got to be Brunson.
I mean, 2 is a lot from considering he played
14
games.
And versus OKC.
I think it's Brunson.
So what's that? 14% of his games he dropped 40.
Mars, stop doing math like fake math. You type that in.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how the fuck did he know that shit is 14%? Like the fuck?
Because 1
shit I be talking about.
Gil had that right. Gil had that right.
2 out of 14 is also 14%.
Gil had that right to left.
I'm trashing math, Mars. You heard Boston Tea Party and you started getting into your New English field.
He had that right
to hell out of here.
Gil had that left to right. He had that right to left, and he had that
better shooter for sure. You gonna fight that, Mars?
Better shooter who?
Shay.
From 3, yeah, he clears.
Yeah, I'll give him the long ball. I'll give Gil the long ball. I won't give him the mid range.
Gil was strong as hell, and he was fast.
You don't think? What about going to the rim? You don't think it's Gil too?
I don't know. It's hard, deciding who's better, like downhill. When you look at like these completely different eras and the spacing and stuff, it's hard. Like it's just driving was just more difficult 20 years ago.
Right.
But Gil had the physical tools to be an elite driver.
Yeah,
like he was strong, he was fast, like 6'4". And he had like the back to the basket game too. So
Shay can play on the block.
I mean, not like Gil.
I think Shay's better than Gil. I think Shay's better.
Can you imagine Gilbert Arenas pulling a gun out at an arena in 2025? That's why people forget about how good he was. That moment was such a big moment.
But I'm not gonna imagine him pulling a gun out. That's kind of crazy.
Nobody forgets how good Gilbert Arenas is.
Nah, they do. People
Gilbert Arenas
legit
had
forget.
3 incredible seasons back to back. The reason why they forget about Gilbert Arenas or he doesn't get acknowledged is because that cut his career short. Had Gilbert done that 5 years later, and we would have got 8 straight years of that. Then
I think the injuries cut his year year short. I think that's what it was.
Jordan, you know that happened
in 2009. It happened in 2009.
He was 27 years old.
That's what I was going to say.
He played 2 games.
2009.
Yeah, I know.
Jordan played 2 games.
He had his prime ahead of him, Chill.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Imagine
but what about when he came back
last year?
Okay, but what about when he came back though?
He was good. He just wasn't the same.
When he was on the Magic.
No, but how long? Didn't he play like 2 years after that? After the suspension with the Wizards? 3 years after that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
he was there. He was there when John Wall was a rookie, right?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So like, I think that the knee injuries is what hurt him. Like he played 32 games the next year. Then you went to
that sucks, man.
Yeah, that's when it was. Then he got traded after that. So. I mean, it's up to you. However you want to see it, it's kind of up to you.
He was playing in track shoes. Like, Gil was wild, yo.
Yeah, Gil was on bullshit doing that.
Wait, track shoes?
Yeah, he was playing in track shoes. Yeah, he was
playing in the spikes. Yeah, you mean the cross trainers? I got you. Yeah.
What about the Dolce & Gabbanas?
Mike Bibby be worse in this era, but that's another conversation too. We can go through all this.
Mike Bibby would be good as a motherfucker in this era. You crazy?
He'd be worse. He'd be getting cooked. They would be targeting him all the time.
He would be targeting a lot of other people too, though.
Mike was cold, but no.
Yeah, he wouldn't be worse.
Shout out Bibby. For real.
Sometimes you gotta play what you gotta play in, man. I had to finish. I
played in straight black forces.
I was at this Reno Reno Bighorns tryout. I had to do the last day in some creative wrecks because I blew my Nikes out the day before.
My man Ox played in some black forces with white socks that was low cut. And he was out there with the biggest shorts he could find. He was scared of Ox ass. Ox was getting all them damn rebounds. Them forces would crease the fuck up in the front. That's the shoes Ox played in.
All right, y'all. Nino sent through a members chat and said Prime Harden or SGA. We talked about it a little bit, but who everybody got? Prime Harden, whether it's
James Harden.
18,
what's Prime Harden?
2019.
2021 too.
Prime Harden
3 months in 2021.
2019 to 2021 is the best Harden ever was.
So that's
Prime Harden is like 2015 to 2020.
That's what I was.
When I was mad chill that James Harden was in and Kyrie and Durant about to go 16-0 to a title. That's how it felt. When March.
Yeah, until Kyrie's ankle gave out and Harden's hamstring gave out and KD's foot was too big.
Hey man, you gotta have you can't just have the mind of a champion. You gotta have the body of a champion too.
You gotta have the DNA of the champion.
Facts.
Jordan,
but who y'all got though?
Jordan's never getting off that, just so you know.
I mean, Kyrie and KD have championship DNA. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, some other boys that some other bullshit happened, but you know.
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know.
Swiper, Prime Harden, SGA.
Yes, I still got Harden for now.
Chill.
James Harden, yes.
Jordan.
Of course, I'm gonna go with James Harden.
Ox, who you got? Prime Harden or SGA?
Wait, Ox, Prime Paul Pierce or SGA?
Oh, Paulie for sure.
I told y'all earlier who I got. I got SGA. Shout out the real MVP.
Of course you did. Yeah.
We got another super chat from the Baller Shot Caller 1999. Baller Shot Caller said it was sarcasm because of the life quotes they be saying. LOL. I told you I was about the quotes.
Oh, the stoic stuff.
Shout out all the stoics out there.
I guess so.
Ballers Intel. Yo, Trayvon, that was crazy. Ballers Intel said if Carlisle didn't get into it with Bill Davidson, he'd have 2 championships. He's a great mind, but he has his ways for sure. LOL.
Maybe he wins a 5 in Detroit as well. Who knows?
As every great genius, sometimes you gotta have your own mind. You gotta be stubborn, and you gotta experiment a little bit too. But most importantly, you gotta.
He ain't gonna win
your
this year
guns,
either.
stick
That's
to your
not his
principles.
fault. Chill. Who's the
Well,
best coach
maybe-
to never win a title for you?
Rick
Nelson.
Adelman.
I think it's Don Nelson.
Don Nelson.
Jerry Sloan.
Shit, it could be George.
Jerry
It should
Sloan.
be
Yeah,
George.
Jerry Sloan.
Sloan,
Jerry
yeah.
Sloan.
It could
Mike
be
Johnson.
George Carl. Look, shit, George
Mike
Carl.
Johnson.
Shit, George
With
Carl.
Jerry, wait, chill. Was it how many years with the Utah? 21.
Mm-hmm.
How many
Long
winning
time.
seasons in a row?
Utah was never winning shit.
Like
So, hey,
16?
man, whatever. That was some default shit. George Carl. Come on, man. Somebody just love the George Carl.
No, to me the answer between D'Antoni and Don Nelson, but
Why George Carl can't get in that?
No, George. George. I
got love
somebody.
for George Carl.
As somebed who knows George Carl, he's even self-admitted he made some.
He should have got
mistakes
one in the
down stretch.
90s.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
also said that that's not him who be on Twitter that be saying that shit, but I think it's him for sure. I'm not buying that. That's not him running that Twitter page. I think that's cap.
Man, this George Carl couldn't make the playoffs with Ray John, Rudy, and DeMarcus, bro. That he's a bum.
God. Ain't he like
Tyler
top 10,
T.
top 20 all time in wins?
Nah, man, Rick Adelman clears.
Rick
I
Adelman's
think
a good one.
George Carl not top 10 all time in wins?
I'd assume so. He's been around for a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah, he is. He is.
He
I mean,
is.
He
That's what
for
I
sure.
thought.
He for sure.
He a better coach than Doc Rivers. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Sky Blue.
Doc
He's
Rivers
in the Hall of
Y'all
Fame.
be doing Doc wrong, man. Y'all be doing Doc wrong, man.
So George Carl no better than him?
I don't know, but I'm just saying. All I'm saying is everybody want to ridicule Bill Belichick for having a young girlfriend, but they ain't seen Doc. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say, bro. That's all I'm gonna say.
George Carl
Tyler-
is 6th all time. Real quick, Ron. George Carl is 6th all time.
There we
Shout out
go.
George Carl. Nah,
It's a long wins.
George
It's
Carl
long
dope
wins.
for real.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler T said this finals is gonna cook. Jokic better. Celtics will be better again soon. Have a great week, everyone. Absolutely, yo.
That Tatum train on October 27th going to be 26th going to be special.
What you talking about?
Yeah,
When he comes back from the Achilles injury.
in October?
26th?
Yeah, I think I think the
year?
start of
next
the
year.
season
You talking about
will
next
be
year?
Yeah, the start of the
Oh,
season
October of
after
26th.
26th.
October
Yeah.
26th. Okay, I'm with you.
I thought you were saying the 26th of October.
That's what I thought you were saying.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
wait
He
a
gonna
minute.
be just starting to walk. Shit.
Right. Without
Nah,
that,
Damian Lillard already running this shit. So
He wasn't running. He was on like the thing.
yeah, it was controlling his waist.
Controlling
His waist.
He moving on. And that was dope. When I seen that, I'm like, bro, these dudes got all
Yeah,
type
it looked
of-
fucking painful though. I ain't gonna lie, that shit looks
advancement.
fucking painful.
Mm.
That
I don't
shit
know,
he was
Jordan.
doing
It
looked
looked
painful.
like because it was no pressure or anything from what it looked like. Well,
But
hold
it
on,
looked like
that
it looked
air
like
or
a
was it
fake
water?
ass leg. No, I think it was air, but it looked like a fake ass leg going up the treadmill and shit. And it looked like he was in some pain, but he was trying to push through. It looked like he was in simulated pain. That's what it looked like, AI generated pain.
Yeah,
Like
they
AI generated leg.
probably have to like do that, like work it out, so don't.
You said what?
But don't tighten up. Yeah. But it did look painful. I mean, it looked like Dame probably got off that treadmill and like really had to like regroup. That's what I was.
Yes, I mean that's part of the recovery, man. But shit, I hope he stick with it, man. We
Tatum
want
tore
Dame to
his
come
before
back and
Dame, or Dame tore his first.
Nah,
Dame did.
Dame did in the first round.
Yeah, Dame
Oh, Dame
for
did in the
sure.
first round. Yeah, okay.
Speaking of all that, is like Wemby's good, right? Like from
Damn,
he went out with.
update on Wemby.
I hope so. Yeah, I haven't heard anything, but I don't know.
Because Dame was dealing with that before the Achilles thing. So
yeah, they haven't gave no update on Wemby. I haven't even seen no videos of Wemby even working out. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's secretive.
Yeah, you just got to be careful with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your guy Bossman became a YouTube member. You know. Well, if you don't know, became a YouTube member. Shout out to Braden also became a YouTube member. And Arch sent through a super chat earlier. We read it, but I'll read it again because it's Arch. Arch said, I wish the best panelist Swiper on PC would show up and cook like he always does. And
kind of like Candyman, like you say his name a couple of times and it just pop up.
Yep.
And Swiper let Arch down.
So what?
Let Arch down.
Why?
Because you didn't come up here and cook.
Yeah.
FIFA Boy became a YouTube member. Shout out to FIFA Boy. Trayvon Ray said David Lee was so good, Draymond couldn't play until he went down.
Yeah, that might have been a wrong mistake though by Mark Jackson.
I mean, sometimes like I'm not gonna say an injury was a blessing, but the Warriors I think benefited from.
But that does happen though, Mars.
Two injuries,
and that happens because just so we clear, if Mark Price doesn't continue to play like he played, I mean, and then Kevin Johnson doesn't get hurt, he doesn't get traded to Phoenix, and we don't know we don't know who Kevin Johnson becomes. Him and Mark Price were playing right behind each other, and they were just doing great. And then Kevin Johnson ended up getting hurt, and they ended up shipping him to Phoenix. He turns into an All-Pro.
Hey, Chill, I just want to say, is Hubie Brown still alive? Right?
Yeah.
He just retired though, right?
Yeah, last game.
Yeah, boy, it was overdue. His ass looked like a skeleton.
Sure, we gonna get your retirement.
God damn.
My retirement?
God damn, Hubie.
Gonna get your retirement soon.
He ain't that old, Mars. That's crazy. Hubie Brown, I'm not even bullshitting. Hubie Brown looked like a skeleton out there.
Hubie Brown's seen all of NBA history. Like I'm sorry, anyone who's seen all of NBA history.
Come on, Ron. Yo, Hubie Brown. What? I was like, bro, you gotta hang this shit up, bro. Hubie, you hanging on by a thread.
Literally, he's seen all.
But he likes working though. What's wrong with that?
Shout out to Hubie. Like Hubie Brown could genuinely tell you that he saw George Mikan and Victor Wembanyama. I'm sorry, like that's elite.
That's what I said, bro.
Like, that's
elite. They used to cut the camera to him, and I'm like, who the fuck is he sitting next to? I'm like, who the hell they sitting
Hubie Brown's been old since like the 80s. Like,
bro, I know a dude that played for him when he coached the Atlanta Hawks. I was like, bro, how old was he then?
And Morgan Freeman.
Like, still old as hell. I'm like, bro, God damn.
Been old for 40 years.
Bro, they put the camera on his close up. All you see is clear. You see straight through his skin. I'm like, all right, Hubie, hang this shit up, Hubie.
He been old as hell my whole life. Not just old as hell my whole life.
Yeah. Hey man, shout out to Hubie though. You know,
I hope y'all minds working 94 like that. That's all
said I could have sworn Rick left because they fired Don Nelson. When did it get charged or when did it get changed into a Luka narrative?
I don't know. I don't know why Rick left the Mavs.
Anybody?
I
know him and Luka
it was both. Him and Luka had problems with Don Nelson and Rick Carlisle. So I mean, and Don Nelson and Nelson and Nelson and Rick Carlisle kind of was like on the same page. They kind of did a lot of shit together. So
Average Joe said, what people are going to recognize in this series is how bad the Pacers are on the boards. Hart about to eat versus Turner. All right, Hart.
I don't know. No, I don't know how much Hart's going to play. I do think one thing, because the Pacers are a really good transition defense, and that's because they don't crash the offensive glass. So I think the Thunder should be comfortable just getting defensive rebounds and then playing. But I don't know. I don't think Hart. I'll see how much Hartenstein plays. I'll be interested.
Super chat is elite.
Bro, I've been trying to hold it together since Jordan said that shit.
All right, no, we not. Average Joe say y'all bugging about Hartenstein. Y'all about to see. Also, J-Dub will be guarding Pascal. Chet probably checks Neesmith. Is that what y'all think the matchups to be?
No, I think Chet will be on Turner. I think Isaiah Hartenstein will be on the bench.
You see them old ass kids back there in the background? Look at Huey back there, boy.
Yo, oh my god,
1965, boy.
DSG Piccolo.
He's seen the whole NBA. He's seen the whole thing.
DSG Piccolo said, Ron, do you think Hallie is better than Prime Chris Paul? I said no yesterday, but since you sent a super chat, just to give you the answer you want, after he wins this Finals MVP, yes, he'll be better.
Jordan, you got the oldest spirit on PCs. You older than Chill inside.
Oh, man,
He was older than Hubie Brown.
No, hell no. Shout out Hubie Brown though, man, because I don't want nothing to happen to him, and then this episode turned into a Jeeks episode. So shout out Hubie Brown, man. But to be fair, when you up in age, anything can happen. So don't put it on.
What are you talking about, bro?
We need to get out. Jordan about to get out.
No, I'm just being real. Like, why we can't be real about life? Shit, man.
Why are we talking about Hubie Brown?
Bro, what?
Shout out Hubie Brown.
We got a super chat from Tupac Westside. Tupac Westside said, off topic, but you were right about Tariq Chill. Killing your dad and then whining about being in the drug game that he was protecting you from.
He's the worst character in television history. I'll never forgive him for killing his father, ever.
Yeah.
Never.
Podcast little boy.
Yes.
Tariq a motherfucker though, boy. I ain't gonna lie, boy. Tariq a hell of a dude.
He was awful.
Pimp named Slickback said, "Stop letting Ron represent the Halliban fanboys. We just wanted Hallie to get some respect. He's a top 10 to 12 player. He's not better than Nash. Nuance. I said he's a top 10. I said anywhere from what? I said 9 to 15.
I don't know what you said, but that means you think.
How could you be 15 and be better than Steve Nash?
Well, Steve Nash wasn't a top 10 player either.
Yes,
Newsflash.
That's why I know you're just yapping. You're just yapping.
2005, Steve.
Yes.
All right, look, I'm gonna just throw some names out there and we'll get off this quick. He wasn't better than Shaq in 2005. He wasn't better than Tim Duncan. He wasn't better than Dirk. He wasn't better than AI. He wasn't better than LeBron. He wasn't better than KG.
Allen Iverson in 2005.
Allen Iverson in 2005 when he led the league in scoring, Swiper. He averaged 30. What?
He
led the league in scoring.
You don't care about scoring for point guards.
You're at KG right now, Ron. Just keep going, Ron. Keep going.
I'm at 7. Right, I'm at 7.
Oh, okay, you're at KG. You're at KG. Come on, you need 8 more. You need 8 more.
He wasn't better than Kobe. I didn't mention Kobe yet. He wasn't better than J Kidd.
Facts.
He wasn't better than T Mac.
Facts. Hey,
he was not better than T Mac in 2005, dog. Stop.
Okay,
but that's what he wasn't better than Braun in 2005.
He said Braun.
Okay,
that's where the love stopped, though, Ron.
Well, I can say D Wade.
No, hell no.
Is that crazy?
Hell yes.
He's saying that's where the love stops.
No. Second year Dwayne Wade was not better than Steve Nash.
All right, cool.
No.
Gilbert Arenas averaged 25, 5, and 5.
What's with you in points per game all of a sudden for point guards?
What do you mean? I just mentioned a bunch of players.
He said top players, not point guards.
And I said 25, 5, and 5. I didn't just say 25.
Okay, but Steve Nash is still a better player than Gilbert Arenas.
He did though, but AI averaged 20.
Wait, did you say Amari? Did you say Amari yet?
Ain't Nash lead the league in assists?
You said Amari? He didn't say Amari.
Did you say Amari yet? Because I
the dude who averaged 29 and 9 that year, or 26 and 9. The dude who led the team in scoring and rebound. Well, he was second in rebound, and Shawn Marion was there. But the dude who really led the team, the dude who was really carrying.
I'm actually just not going to listen to Ron. When
average 29 in the playoffs.
I'm just going to unplug my headphones. I'm just.
Well, I got Amari over Steve Nash, but you don't got to go this far, Ron.
I'm just not going to listen.
Time out. Other than you're putting Amari in there. Other than Amari, what other names that I mentioned? He don't
agree with T Mac. He don't agree with the T Mac one.
Oh, I agree with T Mac. I know I
agree with quite a few of those.
I agree with T Mac.
Oh, okay.
What other name wasn't valid that I mentioned?
I'm still waiting for you to say Paul Pierce.
All right, so if that's the case, was Steve Nash top 15? It looked like Nash and Hallie.
I think we're at 13 right now.
It looked like Nash and Hallie got a little bit more.
Is Hallie better than Carmelo Anthony, who you
didn't
name? Is Hallie better than Carmelo Anthony, who you did not name?
2005? But 2005? Nah, he was better than him.
Shit.
Nash is better than him.
Was he better than Tony Parker?
Yeah, he was better than Tony Parker.
Hey, I got to bounce. Hey, fellas, I'll see y'all.
Bro, he was better than Tony
Parker.
Parker.
Chill. Finals MVP? Was he better than Chauncey?
He was better than Chauncey. Bro, he was better than Chauncey. And I ain't even that Steve Nash guy. He was better than Chauncey.
Asking questions now. Was he better than Vince?
He was better than Vince. That's a good one, but he's better than Vince.
Yeah.
Definitely better than Yao Ming.
What? Definitely?
Definitely
I
better.
I mean, he finished the super chats. I got places to be
I
on.
don't know, man.
Right.
Come on,
I
man.
gotta-
Mark, you ain't
go.
got nowhere to go.
Anywhere's better than this. I'm gonna be honest.
All right, but we've all established she wasn't top 10 though.
No, we
Just like Hallie.
did not do that. You did that. You did that.
God damn.
you
I
you
didn't
you can
realize-
think what you want, Ron. My opinions have been made very clear.
All right.
Steve.
So where do
I
you think he was
realize-
ranked at in the league at that moment?
I don't need to rehash it. And
No,
everything
Mars,
I've
I would
said
like
is-
to know. Like, what you think it was top 5?
Absolutely,
Like, seriously,
absolutely,
top 5?
absolutely.
Damn, I didn't realize Hubie Brown had that many blisters on his damn fingers. I didn't realize.
Yo,
All right, bro. Yo,
hip name.
bro, you gotta do
Damn.
No, I'm
something about
trying.
this.
I'm trying. Now I'm trying. Sufi Yogi said, like Bosch with blood clots, Wimby will never play again.
I mean,
That
I hope that's
crazy.
I hope that's not
I hope
true.
that's not
Come
the
on,
truth.
We
Yeah,
want
okay.
to see Wemby. We want to see that.
Pimp named Slickback said, by the way, the Knicks trading Cat and that 180 million he's due over the next 3 years for KD, who's still top 10 and only 1 year left, is a no-brainer, not a debate. Yeah.
I agree. If you can get KD for Cat, I think that makes tremendous sense. And then I think you probably do need to go out and get another big, like someone who can supplement some of Mitchell Robinson's minutes, especially during the regular season.
Miles Turner, he's a free agent.
I would look into Miles Turner.
If
I would
you
look,
could get him,
I
yeah.
would
I don't think they'll
personally,
be
I
able
would
to.
also look and check on what the asking price is for Robert Williams. Understanding he's injury prone. Understanding
Rob
that.
and Mitch, they ain't never gonna be healthy together.
Yeah, they don't need to be. They need one to be healthy at a time. That's what they need.
For
If Mitchell
sure.
Robinson's unavailable, we
Get
got
ready.
Robert Williams. If Robert Williams is unavailable, we got Mitchell Robinson, and then we have Miles Turner.
And then by the playoffs,
that's
you'll have both of them and they'll terrorize some shit. So
That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm
Yeah.
looking for. Load manage both of them through the season with maybe a Miles Turner starting, and then you have 3 legitimate bigs that you can run. And even with Miles Turner, maybe you can even run some double big looks and see what that looks like. So like that's what I would look at with KD, Brunson,
That's a
KD,
squad right
Brunson,
there.
OG Anunoby. Try to keep Deuce McBride. Josh Hart needs to go. I'm sorry, I'm team get Josh Hart out of it. And then
damn.
we just look and see what we got.
Hey,
Yeah, keep
Morris.
Josh Hart.
Hey, Elton Brand averaged 20 and 9 in 2005.
I was never an Elton Brand fan. But
All right, Jermaine.
How much did Eddie
Why
Curry?
not?
How much did Eddie Curry average in
Eddie
2005?
Curry, big ass Eddie Curry.
How much did Eddie Curry average?
Let me see.
Ron, why are you looking that up? He was not better than Steve Nash. There's no reason for you to even look that shit.
Because I know there was a year where Eddie Curry was averaging like 20 and 10, something like that. I don't know what year it was, but
Hopefully it's 2005 so I can put him on my list. Let me see. Eddie Curry, he was 16. It was 2005, but he was 16 and 5.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no. 19 and 7 in 2007 for the Knicks.
2007. Okay.
What? Hey, what's C Webb averaging 05?
Was that Philly, Chris Webber?
No, I think he
I
went to
don't think
Philly
he was
in
there just
07,
yet.
right? He got the
Oh,
Philly
nah.
in 07.
In 05 he got traded during that
That's
year.
Philly, Chris Webber.
But
Yeah,
that's the year he got hurt though, right? 05. He got hurt that year.
So in
I think
46 games with the Kings, he averaged 21 and 9 and 5 assists. Damn. He was getting to it that year.
I believe that's the year he got hurt though.
The next year
people
for
are saying
Philly,
Ray
he
Allen,
averaged 29.
Seattle Ray.
But you see, I didn't mention Ray Allen. We haven't really talked about how I feel about Ray Allen. I'm not as
I'm like Steven
I seen
Jackson.
82 games of Ray. I wasn't.
I'm like Steven
You know Ray
Jackson with Ray
Allen,
Allen. No,
Before Seattle, in Seattle, I was.
I hear it.
I'm like Steven Jackson with Ray Allen, bro. Now, me and Steven Jackson feel the same way about Ray Allen, but y'all can have what y'all can have.
I like Ray. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think I'm just regular on Ray. Not like, he's the
regular
best.
on him too.
Yeah, like Ray was good. Like he was.
This how y'all treat the best shooter ever? Okay.
I just want to say
He's
Steven
top 5.
Jackson.
Top 5 shooter ever for sure. Top 5.
I just want to say Steven Jackson wasn't wrong when he said he felt like he was better than Ray. So
Okay, I disagree with that.
Whatever.
Well, I mean, Steven Jackson can feel how he wants to feel. I think Ray Allen.
I'm agreeing with Steve.
I think Ray Allen was better, but I expect a player to feel they were better than people at their position. I expect that. So.
Rob, what was Mike Finley doing in 05?
In 05.
Mike
I
Finley was a
know the
21
years
games,
before
something like
that.
21
I
games.
know the years before that he was outscoring a certain point guard that played with him. I know that. I know he was the second leading scorer on that team.
Jerry Stackhouse was killing too, though.
Oh yeah, when they were on the same team, yeah. Steve Nash was averaging like 16.
In 05, Michael Finley was
he on San Antonio? No, he went on San Antonio in 05.
That was his first year. So he went to San Antonio the next year. That was kind of his first year, like taking a step back. He went from averaging 18, 19, and 20 for multiple seasons before that to averaging 15 in 05. So maybe
Well,
Steve
shit,
Nash should have stuck around. He
Steve
would've-
Nash-
Zuma's like, yeah, that's Steve Nash playmaking for him. No, I'm just
No,
Oh,
just-
man.
Hey,
Oh,
Steve
my
Nash-
God.
Steve Nash got an MVP average at 15. So shit.
facts. I think Michael Finney might have outscored him that year. I think he might have.
So maybe if Michael Finley would have got traded to the Suns, maybe
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
you never know, man. Andre Q said, if there's any chance we, the Mavs, get KD, I would love to see Coop coming off the bench and truly letting him grow.
No
He
way,
would come.
Coop coming off the bench. He ain't
would
coming off
come.
no bench.
He would.
He would have to.
If they get KD, why?
What, is he gonna start at the 2?
KD not going back to the 3.
KD gonna start at the 2, 3.
No,
So
AD's
who-
at the 4.
Yeah. And
Coop at the 5. 4 and 5.
Yo,
same shit.
we've gone. I see what today's turning into. You
Yeah,
gotta love
come on.
overtime.
Come
Pit
on,
named
man.
Slickback said, Ox, Cecil is that kid Lamilton?
Lamilton. Remember that
Kid-
episode?
Kid Lamilton
Lamilton.
from the Boondocks that was hanging out with Riley. The one who said, I like to smoke cigarettes and do hood shit. Hood nigga shit.
Y'all remember that?
I
that was a
I know
real
that episode. The little
Yeah,
fat
but
boy.
remember that was a real thing that happened. Remember the little fat boy
Yeah,
took
the
his
boy
friend's
that
car?
said stole the
He like,
car.
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember he
Like
stole
to
the
do
car,
hood
was
right
hitting
there
all
with my
type of people in
friends.
traffic.
Yeah.
I like to smoke with cigarettes.
Cecil
Yo, he
is
was
crazy.
Nah, I'm trying to tell y'all though,
8 years
Cecil was
old.
bad. Cecil was bad as hell, bro.
Hey, how long did
It
you
was
end up knowing
bad.
Cecil till?
Till you went to prison.
So he passed
just
away
that,
of old
just,
age in 1997.
just that year, we had ended up moving that next year, but
Y'all had to get the far
it
away
was
from
that-
Cecil
it
as
was-
possible.
it
I don't
was
know
just
what
that year. I'm
people
talking
now,
about.
old folks now.
That motherfucker Cecil so old, he got streets and shit named after
Yeah, that
him,
nigga had
boy.
me getting
Cecil
suspended.
turned
and
into Hughie
everything.
Brown.
We had got
Hey,
an
boy.
actual suspension,
Hello, Cecil.
and then got
Boy,
suspended.
that
shit
boy,
was
boy, that
crazy.
boy, that boy,
Playback.
Hubie got his hands up looking at the Lord right now, boy.
Nah, that's too far. All right, I'm going, bro.
All right, y'all. Shout out
All
to
right,
John
y'all,
Woodard.
peace.
John Woodard became a
God
YouTube
damn.
member. Shout out to Cecil once again. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Oh,
Good
and
boy.
of course, shout out to Hubie Brown. Y'all make sure you
Yeah.
download the PrizePicks app. I think they have a more or less on Hubie's.
Don't say something crazy.